Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
Prepare for the SML Podcast.
Howdy. If you're there, if you're back from your drink.
Yeah.
Yay. Josh, how are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Yourself?
I'm alive. That's about the extent of my week. Been a rough one. So
yeah, we've been having a lot of sickness go through our household, so we've been like exchanging flus.
Tag team, back and forth.
Oh yeah, with a couple ER trips in the middle of it. So.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, but we're good now, so that's the important thing. We survived.
Damn. So this is Bri and Aki. We have a third one, Jacob, coming eventually.
He's always late.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like my D&D group.
What do you play as?
I'm actually the DM, so I've actually been I've been running this. We've been actually doing the 2024 rule set now, and I'm running the Shattered Obelisk module. So, but I'm doing all the music for our session custom. So
that's fun.
Nice.
So yeah, each character and player gets their own theme music, and so yeah.
Very
do you
cool.
have the songs like pre-made and you play them as it happens, or do you like live perform? Like on
I'm not
keyboard
that
and
good
drum
to
machine
live
or
perform.
something?
I can't do the live, but what I do is I use Roll20 because my buddies are back in Indiana where I was from. So we do Roll20, and then there's a way for me to upload the music directly to it, and so I can just click whenever I want one of the tracks to play and such. So
this is
nice.
Good conversation. I feel like I have to keep this in the show now because it's actually interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty fun because I actually had last session I was like it was kind of funny because like the players do stuff, and so I try to, me being a game composer, I try to think of all the scenarios they would do. And so they were actually kind of shocked that I wrote some silly music for them to do something comedic. So it was just kind of funny that I could shock my players, and the fact that I could anticipate, because I've been playing with them for years, so I know what they do at this point, but it's pretty fun.
So what are all your players playing?
It's kind of a weird party this time around. One of our players is an Aasimar cleric, and then we have a monk, a dark elf monk, actually, to be precise, and then we have an elf rogue who's a pirate, so a swashbuckler, and then we've got a lawful good paladin. So, and they're running, I think, Oath of Devotion. So they're like extra lawful good.
Nice.
So it's kind of going to be weird because obviously the pirate character is all about taking things from people and robbing them, and so it'll be interesting to see what'll happen when that comes across the paladin.
So, are any of them playing the derp character?
I don't think so. I think they're all relatively competent people. But
Aki, are you playing a derp character?
I always play the derp character.
There was a second part to that question. Is it chaotic evil?
No, it's always chaotic neutral.
So you never know what they're going to do.
You're not evil at heart. You just hate everyone equally. So
Exactly. I'm just the type who wants to watch the world burn. It's fine.
You want to watch the world burn, but you're too lazy to set the flames yourself.
Exactly. I'll just occasionally fan it every, few months. It's fun.
You instigate.
A little bit.
See, I actually have, because we played Baldur's Gate 3, and so my players were like, we really want to do something in the Forgotten Realms because they all had played it, and I was like, okay, well, and then I actually am connecting this story to after the events of Baldur's Gate 3.
Nice.
So we actually will have Gale in the campaign because they want to go to Waterdeep. So we have Gale will be helping them, and then the nether stones that were used for the villains for them to control the Elder Brain in Baldur's Gate 3. Turns out those nether stones are actually part of this nethery shadow obelisk thing that which is where they got them from. So somebody's trying to assemble all of these nether stones together to control everybody in Faerun, even worse than the Elder Brain. So,
nice.
So we're kind of doing that, and then when they come across Gale will be like, I've encountered these nether stones before. So I might be able to help you out, or at least point you in the right direction. And then there's also a few cameos from people from Baldur's Gate 3 also. So it's going to be like a really, really fun romp through that lore and stuff.
I will say I'm going to elbow drop Jacob in the nether stones if he doesn't hurry up and get here soon.
I don't care about him at this point. We're talking D&D. I'm good.
We are talking D&D with Josh Barron. Tell us who you are and why you're here. Now Jacob shows up. After I give up. After I give up.
You gave up on me?
Always.
That's like a weekly occurrence, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, tell us who you are and what brings you back to SML.
Yeah, so I'm a video game composer. My name is Joshua Barron, and I go by Josh normally. And I do the music for Fallen Aces, which is a new game by New Blood Interactive. New Blood's done a lot of games like Medieval and Gloomwood, among others, and Dusk. So a lot of the boomer shooters. But I also do video game albums. I arrange cover music, which is primarily what I was on the show before. And just kind of on here to promote and to hang out.
And we are thrilled to have you back. I put a little bit of time in with the game earlier today. First things first, I love the art style of this game. I am not good at first-person shooters in the slightest, but I love how good the game looks.
Yeah, our artist Francis, him and Trey really worked together to create like this Dick Tracy type comic book kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people who were like looking at the cutscenes are like, these are really different than what New Blood has ever done. And so, we went all in. He draws all these things by hand. And so it's just whatever he does is awesome. I love the cutscenes too.
I love the 3D environment with the 2D plane objects. I've always enjoyed that mix of 2D and 3D. So that caught my eye as well. The big thing that caught me, though, is the music, because you did that, yes?
Yes.
Tell us about it. How'd you get this job?
Well, I actually had it for probably like 7 or 8 years. We went through like what we call developmental hell, where the project seemed to be getting somewhere, and then we'd not have any money, and then we just kind of went on indefinite hiatus with it. And so eventually Trey just kept shopping it around, and New Blood said, this is the kind of game that we would love to do. So then they picked us up and decided to, help give us the tools and the resources to make it happen. So how I got involved is one of my buddies and my Materia Collective days, he just recommended me to Trey and said, "Hey, I got a friend who's really good at, orchestra music and stuff. You should check him out." And then he did, and then he pinged me. And so it just kind of went off from there. They did have a composer before, but he was like, I don't know what happened with him. I'm assuming that something happened because he didn't end up doing the job. But there's a few pieces in the soundtrack, like the menu. When you boot up the game, that's the other guy, but 99.9% of it's me.
Right on.
Very cool. I listened to the whole soundtrack. Thank you for letting me know that it's out there. It's on Bandcamp, on iTunes. It's on the everythings. We'll have a link in the show notes when it goes up. Some of my favorites I want to call out are Call of the Night, On the Upswing,
on my list.
Laying Pipe, and Justice Hits Hard. Those are in my top range. I love those.
I would say Big Palooka was a good one for me too. Reminded me of like the noir version of an epic gladiator fight, and I really like that one.
Yeah, funny thing about that, Trey likes the same music as me. So when we had actually added that, it was not in the game when we initially went in early access. So the big guy, there was a fight, I think, somewhere, and it just wasn't as satisfying. So we added another update to the game to make that fight bigger, more difficult. And so Trey was like, we need something that's longer than 3 minutes. And he actually, I don't know if any of you know this movie, Citizen Kane, but it was...
Yeah.
I heard of it.
Yeah. The music score to that, he's like, this is kind of what I wanted to sound big and lumbering. And then I was like, okay, I listened to it and I was like, okay, I can kind of do that. So we'll see. And then that's how Big Palooka came out. And it actually ended up being a much longer battle track. I think it's probably one of the longer ones.
Like 7 minutes or something, yeah.
Yeah.
7 minutes, 12 seconds.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it was a real chore to, initially to try to say, I'm thinking about 4 or 5 minutes. And then I was like, well, the music doesn't sound like it wrapped up. So I decided to just think like 7-minute battle track.
Do you have a favorite from the album? I mean, we just mentioned some of ours.
Actually, I think the stuff towards the end of the album is my favorite, just because the stuff that happens in the club, and I believe it's like chapter 4 or 5. I think it's probably like 5 or 6. I can't remember which chapter it is in the game offhand, but it's the Moth and Flame, and that was the very first music I did for the game.
Oh, nice.
It's changed. It was actually in the demo when the game was, when we gave them like just that level to play with, and so that music has kind of evolved over time. I got better sounding samples. I've learned more since I did those tracks. And so I think they just followed me from the beginning and the end. It was kind of like coming full circle. But that and the vocal theme that I did at the end.
That's Glass.
Yeah.
I like that one as well. That's on my top list there.
Yeah, that's actually not in the game. That is something I made specifically for the album.
Nice.
Just because I always like to give people who buy the album to have something more, something extra,
It reminds me of a hidden track at the end of The Seventh Guest.
Yeah.
Which wasn't in the game, but it's on there.
Yeah. And it was my first, and I'm not really that, I'm not really versed in jazz. It doesn't sound like it when you listen to the soundtrack, but a lot of that I had to learn kind of winging it and just playing until I can live with something on the keyboard, or listening to people who are much better at jazz than me and just trying to learn from that too. So but James Bond type music is like my favorite film scores. So that vocal song was
It definitely had that Bond vibe.
Yeah, and I was trying so hard not to copy Snake Eater, because the whole time I was writing it, I was like hearing Snake Eater in my head, and I was like, "Oh, get out of there!" So,
I think my favorite song so far, because I haven't actually finished the entire album yet, but my favorite one so far is The Downside of Being Upside Down, because it reminds me of music that I'd expect to hear from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
And that brings me the greatest of joys.
Yeah, and Trey likes that soundtrack also from Batman the Animated Series, so he would always like send me a scene from the game, and it would have the temp score from, you know, an episode of Batman, and so I would be listening to a lot of that stuff too. Like Nightwave specifically is kind of your Batman-esque figure, and so a lot of times when he shows up, I try to make sure his music is brooding and dark like Batman would be. Where it's like, you know, he can definitely be an intimidating person. So
nice.
I was always more of the Batman Beyond guy with the industrial elements in there.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, they're both good.
I like my drum machines. Something else I like, I got to give a quick shout out to Jordan, who just dropped a sub a few minutes ago. Thank you for your support and for hanging out. Josh, tell us more about Fallen Aces. What is this game about? Like, what all did you work on with the game? Because it sounds like you were a bit more involved than just the music.
So what we had done, I didn't really have much to do with the writing or anything, but like, when every now and then Trey would say, hey, let's have a meeting and let's talk about some stuff with like the cinematics and everything like that. So that's kind of like my favorite step. I love doing the cinematics because basically when Trey says we're going to have a meeting, I know what it's about. It's going to be a cinematic, and he's going to walk me through point by point what the player should be feeling, what the dialogue's going to do,
fall into the
what he expects it to sound like. And so out of any people that I've worked with before, Trey understands like how the music's supposed to work. Like you'll get some people that I've worked with in the past that have no idea, like they just want music in there, but they don't know how, like they don't want the music to overshadow anything. They have no idea of like how it truly functions in a scene. Trey's different. And we'll just sit there and kind of brainstorm about it. And, like the car chase sequence, which I'm sure you probably haven't gotten there yet, so I won't spoil it for you. But that one was like, I think a 3-ish minute cutscene, but there's a lot going on, and so we shift a lot of styles in through it. But he pretty much leaves me free reign to kind of do whatever I think would be good. And if he doesn't like it, then he'll just say, you know, let's drop this part, let's try this style, let's do this.
Would you say there's a lot more back and forth as compared to like doing music by yourself, and that you're trading ideas and getting feedback and all that?
Oh yeah, and I'm pretty fortunate. Whenever I get feedback, I get very little notes. There's some times where I really struggle, but I could probably count on one hand how many times I haven't, that I've had to get a lot of notes.
You're good at your job.
Yeah, you're
doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, me and him got a pretty good read on each other. It's, you know, so it's a pretty good thing we got. But yeah, the music itself is kind of where I can tell he likes that process, sitting down with me, hearing what I've got. And he usually responds to me pretty quickly on things. So, but yeah, it's really great when you have like the director that's like really passionate about all these cool music scores, and we could probably talk hours on just our favorite scores and what our favorite game soundtracks are and stuff. So,
well, what are your favorite game soundtracks?
Well, none of them like Fallen Aces, actually, surprisingly. I like the Japanese RPG soundtracks. Pretty much my interest in composers is definitely in Japan. And somewhere, you know, peppered throughout Fallen Aces, you know, there's hints of Hitoshi Sakimoto from Final Fantasy Tactics and Vagrant Story. There's a little bit of Joe Hisaishi from the Studio Ghibli films in there. There's Yoko Kanno from Cowboy Bebop. A lot of those influences I tried to use because that's part of my interest in terms of my sonic palette. So
very cool. Big shout out, Horror Acolyte rated us a few seconds ago. Thanks for bringing in some poor suckers to listen to us on this awful show. Not often that we have people that are interesting, like Jacob. Is he even going to say anything?
He's not even going to defend himself.
No, he's not. He's just sitting there. He's talking crap with the people in chat instead.
He's
Jacob.
indefensible, and he knows it.
Jacob.
He's probably just reading. He's probably reading Dungeons and Dragons now.
He might be.
Yeah.
He might be.
So you already kind of touched on this a little bit, Josh, but I saw on your Bandcamp page you do like a wide range of musical styles. Was this style of music already something you'd done before, or was this really a step outside your comfort zone? I know you said you don't really do jazz, but
yeah, it was actually. A lot of it had to do because one thing that I'm not a formally trained composer. I didn't go to school. My extent of music education was in high school when I played in band, and I also played in jazz band.
Nice.
But I didn't compose jazz. So when I had done this, I was like, okay, I'm really good at listening to a song and picking it apart and figuring out the notes on the keyboard. So I'm just going to do it that way. I'm just going to listen to a bunch of really good jazz music and just kind of play those chords that I'm hearing, and then just take the chords I like, but not necessarily copy the song. But like, composers don't own chords or progressions. They're just, it's like they're like formula, right? So I would use this formula to make this song and what have you. So like, I think as the soundtrack goes on, I think that the jazz gets slightly better because I probably spent maybe 5 or 6 years in development of the score of this soundtrack. So on and off as until we hit with New Blood publishing us, then things kicked off more consistently. So yeah, I think it's definitely out of my wheelhouse. I'm definitely an orchestra guy, but I also, through the Travelers, expanded into folk music and learned a lot of stuff from other people about that, which I think helped because it allowed me to say, I'm out of my comfort zone learning Celtic music and Filipino folk music and all of that. So it kind of gave me an idea, I felt a little bit more confident being in an uncomfortable, doing uncomfortable, like, styles and things that I'm not familiar with. I just kind of jump with both feet in and keep my head down until I figure it out.
Nice.
Hockey, any questions from you that aren't D&D related? I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with Jacob at this point.
I can totally talk about D&D. Screw
Jacob,
the album.
are things working? I see you unmuted. Oh my lord.
Yeah, I'm very all D&D talk, really.
Yeah,
that is where my comfort is. It's not with a video game that I haven't played because this computer isn't good enough, or music because I don't understand anything about music. I just listen to it and it's there. Yeah. That's kind of so for me. It's just D&D, Joe. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I mean, you should see. I wish I could show you guys my book collection because I've got like tons and tons of fantasy novels, but I have like a whole shelf of like the Dritz Stewart novels. So like from the D&D universe and stuff. So I'm actually rereading all of them now because I went through my umpteenth rewatch of the Lord of the Rings, and so I was like, I want to read some just like traditional sword and sorcery, so I went back and read the Icewind Dale trilogy, and it's awesome. I don't know if any of you have read it.
It's been a long while.
Yeah, and they just did these reprints, and they're gorgeous cover arts. So I'm like trying to get my collection complete again. So I'm like on Streams of Silver now, the second book where they try to go take Mithril Hall for the king. So that's kind of where it's at. But it just reminds me of The Hobbit now. Since I've watched The Hobbit, I've read The Hobbit. It's like a dwarf wants to get his kingdom back from a dragon who took it. It's literally The Hobbit rewritten with different characters and settings and stuff, but it's still fun. So,
I was gonna say, the series that I remember reading the novels was the Pools of Radiance or Pool of Radiance. The series, the Darkness and Twilight, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good.
Those
series.
are good. Yeah,
I was so out of the loop because I was never big into D&D stuff growing up, but I read a series of novels called they were based around a character Lone Wolf. They're like choose your own adventure novels. I love those. So that's my contribution.
I never heard of it. There's one book series I've been reading by an author named Michael J. Sullivan. He wrote the series The Ryeria Revelations, which is about these two guys that are like mercenaries, and they get into they're just hilarious. They just take the piss out of each other like 24/7 through the books. And they actually started off hating each other really badly until they were just like, like how all men do. They beat the shit out of each other, and then they're like, we're best buds. So but it's a really cool book series. It's nice and gritty, but it's still lighthearted enough. And I like how he does how he kind of takes like a historical approach like Tolkien did to world building. It's like, the elves existed these thousands of years ago, and then because of crossbreeding with humans, the elves' eye colors changed and they lost, their ears started to not be as pointy. And it just kind of goes, it kind of grounds it to like the current world. And I kind of like fantasies that are kind of think outside of the box like that.
Right on.
Real quick, you guys can hear me, right?
Now we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I all right. So yeah, I was muted on Discord, but apparently I also hit the mute button on my headset. So even after I muted myself, nobody was ever able to hear me. Because I was like, oh yeah, like I played a couple of games of D&D in college, and I also saw the movie, which that is, well, actually, I mean, I saw the first movie and the new one, but yeah, that first movie sucks.
Yeah. The more new one isn't actually that bad. I actually went into it not liking.
Like I was cool with it. I mean, like I know jack shit about Dungeons and Dragons, but I had a fun time, and I was hoping that they'd make a sequel.
Yeah, it didn't really do so well in the box office, so I don't know if they will or not.
They just announced they're going to try to do another TV show. It's not going to be on Paramount Plus. It's going to Netflix maybe. I think
you're right.
Well, there's only like 4 dozen services. Let's go down all of them and see if it's on there. Is it Hulu? Peacock?
Netflix. It is Netflix.
Okay.
Sean Levy is going to be taking care of it, and it's going to be The Forgotten Realms.
Oh, awesome! It better. I actually think they should just do a Dritz series, but I'm worried that if they do, they'll like royally screw it up. So,
do you think any of the D&D games have nailed like the essence of what makes D&D fun?
I think Baldur's Gate 3 is the closest you'll get.
Yeah, for sure.
And even though they made up different rules for how 5th edition works, but I think that those rules that they changed, it wouldn't have translated well if they did it identically to the mechanics of how the rule set works. So I think they did pretty darn good job. And you can pretty much do anything in that game. I mean, there's a couple of times where you'll bug out the game. Like when I tried to get it to where Will didn't get horns for not killing Karlach, so I killed Karlach, brought her back to life, and then the game bugged out because the game's like, we didn't expect you to be that freaking clever. Okay, tone it down. So it had its
game
thing,
that thought of like everything when it comes to possibilities in that game. They thought of damn near everything.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why it comes close. There's other games that were like that I enjoyed, like Dark Alliance, not the new one, but the ones that were back on Xbox and PlayStation 2. Dark Alliance 1 and 2. And then you had like Forgotten Realms Demon Stone. That was actually pretty decent.
I like that one. Not many people remember that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I've played that one.
Original Xbox,
I don't know,
I believe.
I don't know if you can find it. I think it might be on PC, or if at the very least, Good Old Games maybe might have it. But yeah, they that game had, I think, Patrick Stewart as a voice actor.
Oh, nice.
And the late Michael Clark Duncan playing the villain. So yeah, it was like a pretty cool star-studded cast voiceover wise, but the game hasn't really aged very well graphically.
$10 on GOG. It is out there.
Yep. Yeah, and it was the story was actually written by the author of the Dritz novels. So the creator of Dritz actually did the story of it. And so I thought that was kind of cool. And then you had it was just like a hack and slash, which I loved them. Like the Lord of the Rings games, like the Two Towers and Return of the King. You just button mash through that whole gosh darn thing. The good old days.
I miss days of mindless button mashing in games. Like now you have to do dodge rolls and parries and perfect parries and I just
like Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yes, exactly like Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh, I've been playing the new one, and I've been getting every time a combat happens, I get my ass handed to me.
I couldn't even get through the first tutorial fight with it. I couldn't win against the knight. I was like, all right, no, I thought I was doing good, and now I'm not.
There's a move that you get later after you get through the tutorial that makes combat a little easier, but it's supposed to, but it still doesn't make it easier for me, so I just suck through it. So
yeah,
it's easier when you get the dog, because then you can tell the dog to bite somebody's leg, and then while they're busy with that, you just stab them in the back. Hello? So I'm totally not a knight in that one. I'm very much a cutthroat. No honor in backstabbing.
Yeah.
So what other games are you playing these days? What are you enjoying?
I actually am just now playing Avowed.
I was going to ask if you played that yet, but I didn't. It just hit early launch 8 hours ago.
Today. Yeah, today. It's I haven't played much of it. I probably will say I've probably played about as much of it as you've played of Fallen Aces. But I dove into it a little bit, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It's it kind of feels like Skyrim to me, but it definitely feels different. I kind of feel like everybody compares it to Skyrim, but it already has a better story than Skyrim, in my opinion.
Shots fired.
But, yeah, Skyrim was
Chris
kind
Taylor?
of yeah, it was. Skyrim is kind of bare bones. My biggest problem with Skyrim is I hate the stupid Thalmor, and I just want to murder every last one of them, and the game doesn't let you do that. And there's there's a letter you find about Ulfric being paid by the Thalmor to cause a civil war, and it's you never get to use that anywhere. You just pick it up and read it, and it's just okay, I know it, but I can't take the letter and be here, you were bribed. And but So far, the Avowed is really interesting. Like, the character you play as is like this. They're like I think they're called a godling or a god. I can't remember what they are called, to be honest. But like they have like these. You can have them look like they have flowers growing out of their face, or there's like they have some scars. They were touched by the gods and given some powers.
Yeah.
But some people think you're cursed. So like throughout the entirety of the game, people are just saying, "Wow, your face looks like crap."
With flowers growing out of your face.
Yeah, you can you can even have your character look like one of the clickers from frickin' Last of Us. You know, it looks like there's fungus growing out of their face.
Cute.
So it's kind of weird. But you can turn that off, and then NPCs will just mention your face and your difference. So then aesthetically you can make your guy look normal, your guy or woman. But yeah, I like how you can the wand combat is really awesome. So they kind of borrowed from Hogwarts Legacy a bit, where you just swish the wand and start slinging spells, and I think that's really cool. Something that Skyrim I don't think really did much of. They didn't, the stabs and stuff were kind of just something you just had in your hand.
Yeah, it was just a prop.
Yeah. So this one's, you can just throw a fireball really quick or throw some magic missiles at somebody, and it's really awesome.
I need to flip a coin and decide if I'm going to start Avowed or Kingdom Come first.
Yeah, I haven't played enough of Avowed to tell you which way or the other. I know one thing, Avowed is probably a lot easier to beat because in Kingdom Come, I'm just overwhelmed by the sheer size of the map and how much shit you got to do.
Yeah.
Wasn't the first Kingdom Come a 100-hour game, and now this one's bigger?
Yeah, it's 100 and I think they said it's 160 hours.
I ain't got time for that. Holy hell.
Yeah. I don't either.
I think people were complaining that Avowed is a 15-hour game. I'm good with that. That's fine. Let me explore after that, and I'm happy.
Yeah, and they've and one thing is too, their zones are they're supposed to be open zones, so kind of like God of War, where God of War felt big, but it really wasn't. It still allowed you to kind of go off the beaten path, but then sooner or later you have to go through the actual missions and to progress to the next area.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they did with this a bit. But this one, I did accidentally run into an area where I wasn't supposed to go, and the game doesn't hold your hand there, and then I got straight up murdered. Because all the enemies were way higher level. And it's yeah, well, at least it simulates how dangerous the living lands can actually be. You can actually run into trouble instead of the game holding your hand and say this, like Assassin's Creed. They'll show you different areas and they'll say this area is level 30 and all that. This one won't do that. So this one will just leave it up to you if you want to deal with it or not.
Are there health bars or level indicators that show you that they're going to wreck your face? Or is it just surprise, you're dead?
Yeah, they do have a level indicator, and I think I remember seeing a symbol that shows you their
get the hell out of here.
Yeah, they'll have a symbol next to it that kind of signifies they're way more than your level. So yeah, they do have those indicators, so you're not going to be completely surprised, but some of the boss fights are pretty hard too. Even the first boss fight I had, this guy had a frickin' he had this huge sledgehammer, and I had a shield and a spear, and I was trying really hard to stab him and everything, but his sledgehammer would just interrupt every attack I had because naturally it's a bigger weapon and can hit with more force. And so every time I brought my shield up, it would kind of make me go backwards and kind of stun my character a bit. So it'll have those mechanics that, if you're used to Elder Scrolls combat, it will be a little slight learning curve because enemies have a lot more variance in how they attack you and that sort of thing. So
I'm eager to check that out this weekend sometime. I hope. Fingers crossed. Life has been happening way too much.
Yeah, totally understand.
So is there anything else you wanted to chat about with Fallen Aces in the soundtrack?
So the soundtrack's just $10, and tomorrow is Bandcamp Friday. So that means that Bandcamp will give their cut to me. So if anybody buys the soundtrack, definitely buy it tomorrow. If you buy it today, great. But gives me a little bit more support by buying it on Fridays. And then I think I'll be starting Fallen Aces episode 2 sometime this year. So I always try to tell people, join my Discord channel, which is where I put a lot of prototype tracks, things that I'm working on strictly through the Discord. So you won't find it on my SoundCloud or any other page. So basically I'll release it on the Discord first for a few weeks, and then I'll post it on the regular channels after that. So to kind of give my Discord members a little bit of exclusivity.
Well,
Very
wait
cool.
a second. Didn't you say it took like 6 years to make the first game?
Yeah, so but that was mainly because we didn't have New Blood for all of those years. It was just 3 of us, 2 programmers, and they did like the script writing and all the art and all that. So when New Blood got involved, things like exponentially went faster because as we got closer to early access release, New Blood just threw a whole bunch of people on to, as far as like QA, checking to make sure there's any bugs in the game, things are working smooth.
New Blood.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, we've got most of the basic systems and everything done. So like the UI probably won't change, but there are a few new things that we're doing for episode 2. And I can't really, I don't know if I can talk about any of that, but,
that's fair.
Yeah, but we're going to add some really interesting elements, like what I'm seeing from like the programming side of it. It just vastly opens up the possibilities in episode 2. So like you thought, episode 1 gave you a lot of freedom. This will just kind of open the floodgate. And episode 2 is going to be a lot darker in tone. So I'm going to be doing a lot of horror type music. So we'll still have the jazz elements and the noir, but we're going to be going more into like Alfred Hitchcock, Bernard Herrmann type horror sounds. So, which is what I like to do. So
very cool.
Any thoughts on chapter 3 yet? Or is that too far off to even think about?
The only thing I know about chapter 3 is, and Trey said this publicly, so I can share it. We want to do that Zeppelin you see flying over the city. We're planning on doing something with that. So that might be a level where you go on the Zeppelin. And I've told him, like, if we do the Zeppelin, I am definitely doing, I don't know if you guys have watched the James Bond movie A View to a Kill, but there is a Zeppelin, a blimp, that gets stuck on the Golden Gate Bridge, and Bond is like, about to fall to his death. And I just want to do like music that's like that, where it just kind of sounds like you're just kicking all sorts of ass in the air above the city and everything. So that's going to be really cool if we decide to do it. I'm not sure if that will be an actual level or not. Yeah, that one. But
gotta include a joke if you throw someone out of the Zeppelin that you quip no ticket.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones reference.
Yeah. Oh, that game was so good too. The Great Circle.
I didn't play that one yet either. That's on my list.
You should play that one instead of Kingdom Come or Avowed. Just play that one because it's on Game Pass, but it's awesome. It's kind of funny. It's actually better than any of the last 2 Indiana Jones films put together.
Well, that's not a high bar to reach, really.
No, it's not.
I haven't seen Dial of Destiny yet, but I really didn't mind Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It was just, I don't know, it just got too sci-fi for Indiana Jones, in my opinion. But
hey, I didn't like the moment he hid in the fridge and survived a nuclear blast was the moment I just like, not possible.
You know, like opened up the Ark of the Covenant, drank from the Holy Grail. Yeah, that's doable. Survive a nuclear blast in a refrigerator? I think not, good sir.
You got a point.
Come on,
there,
even Fallout 3 made fun of that.
Yeah, that's true. Even to some degree, the TV series kind of did too, because you had the guy that what's his name, Maximus. He hid in that booth.
Yep.
Oh, so
I thought we were talking about young Indiana Jones, and I was like,
no, talking about the Fallout show.
Yeah,
Indiana Jones hid in a phone booth, like one of those British toll booths.
Yep.
I have not seen that one.
But yeah, but yeah, as far as Fallen Aces though, I haven't been busy with anything with it yet. Trey has just been kind of having me experiment with some stuff, like the old Disney movie choirs. So like like you had in Cinderella and Pinocchio. But there's no sound library that comes close to that sound. So I tried really hard, and I was just like, if we want those types of choirs, we'll probably have to get real singers. Because choir libraries don't have like that ooh and ah like the old choirs used to have in the vintage music. So, but that's pretty much all I've been doing is trying to sound design my way to get that kind of sound. So that's kind of been my work to the extent of my work on Aces right now.
I was going to ask on Fallen Aces, was there also a sound designer, or did you end up doing a lot of that as well?
Thankfully, I did not have to do any of that.
Did you get to work with them at least?
No, a lot of the stuff that was done, I think Trey did, or he found like sounds that, because we have a very, very small team. Trey pretty much programs the whole thing by himself.
Okay.
So like when Fallen Aces episode 1 came out, I'm pretty sure he had to take like a month vacation, like just straight sleep, because I told him, I was like, dude, this is over. You need to go rest.
Hibernate.
Yes. But he did a lot of that, like the guns and the car sounds and all that. He took care of all that stuff. So really and I was pretty happy not to do any of that because I have no idea how to do any of that.
There.
So I'm kind of old school. I know everything about the music part, and probably, in the industry now, it's probably handy to have all of that. But that's why I'm just lucky to be where I'm at, is like I can just focus on just my part and make it as best as it can be. So,
all right.
Well, the soundtrack's a home run for me, so mission accomplished.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something that I've always wanted to do. It's kind of like if I did a James Bond soundtrack, it kind of would be what it would sound like. So, and a lot of that stuff. My favorite James Bond scores are like the Pierce Brosnan era. So like from GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, World Is Not Enough, that spot. And so like a lot of that style I injected into the score pretty much wherever I could. So like the battles, the combat music is really like in your face. And that was kind of deliberate with what we did, because part of it is like when you're learning the game, we wanted something that I told Trey right off is I think it would be good. And this is kind of where our working relationship is and how I make the imprint on the game itself, is that I told him that, for like the first couple chapters of this game, Mike is Mike is a derpy character. Like he's in over his head. He's like he's never really he's kind of played it safe as a cop. He's just kind of, bad stuff happens. He just looks the other way. And now he's not able to do that. And so like the music is supposed to give this sense of a lack of confidence. Like it just seems overwhelming. And then there's just a part in the game where it pivots to Mike is confident. He can shoot the guys. He can, he becomes a badass. So that's where like there's a shift in focus on tone is when the themes start to become more James Bond and confident, so that's kind of what I told Trey, and he's like, that sounds perfect. Let's do that because that'll go with the aesthetic pretty well with someone learning the game and how it works and operates and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like, I like to get into the psychology of what a player is thinking and how do I manipulate that and mess with their head and all sorts of stuff.
That's very awesome. Do you know if there's any plans for it to come to consoles in the future?
I would love that to happen. I don't know. I know that New Blood is dabbling in that. I think they brought a couple of their games to consoles. I believe Dusk and Amid Evil might have went to console. But it really just depends on how much sales. I think as far as I know, Fallen Aces is one of the top games that New Blood has. Just because it's like so much more different than their usual roster of boomer shooters. So, and I think that's mainly due to like the cutscenes and the comic book vibes that it gives off. But yeah, I hope it goes to console, but as of right now, I haven't heard anything about that or if they're thinking about it.
Gotcha. Well, I will keep my fingers crossed on that. Josh, we got to move on to news. Did you want to stick around and chat news with us?
Sure.
Cool, because did you keep your eye on the State of Play from Sony that happened this week?
Yeah, I actually did. I watched it.
What did you think of it?
It was kind of all right. There was a lot of games I'd never heard of or were familiar with. But I mean, I was kind of surprised that Days Gone is getting a remaster. And I was like, really hoping that it did.
Of all of Sony's games, that's the one they chose.
It feels like they're trolling Bloodborne fans at this point.
Like, oh my God, for real. But anyway, we should go through the Sony event. The State of Play happened. A lot of news in the event. Let's go through in order. The first game that was shown off was Monster Hunter Wilds, which is coming out very, very soon. They mentioned that Mizutsune, I don't know, will be the first free monster as a part of a spring update. I can't pronounce monster names, so you'll have to read up on that yourself.
It's a cute giant snake. I love it.
There you go. Sega showed off a new Shinobi game, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, going to be coming out August 29th from the developers of Streets of Rage 4.
It is so weird to see this game because I remember when I was a little kid and played one of these on the Sega way back forever ago. Mm-hmm. It's just weird that they're still around.
Yeah.
I mean, Sega's still a company. They put out a lot of games.
I hope they get Yuzo Koshiro, the composer of Streets of Rage and Shinobi. I hope they get him back to write the music for it.
Ooh,
because he did like a lot of electronica, but like meets Asian music. So I always that was always like the draw for me with the Sega games. They just had such great soundtracks, and they just wrote so many good bangers.
Yeah, this one should turn out pretty good. It's good to see one of Sega's new remake projects coming to light and that it looks good. Later confirmed it will be on all platforms, so that is good. Another game hitting all platforms, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. New Sonic Racing game. Jacob, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm excited. Like they just announced it, and I was like, "Cool, I'm there." Like, I don't
talk about it at all. Like, did you watch the trailer?
Like, I have not seen shit. I've seen one screenshot. I saw one screenshot that was like apparently like there's a track based on like some early '90s space shooter game that they had made. And I'm just like, cool. That looks great. I look forward to getting this. Like,
looks like there'll be customizable vehicles with mix and match parts.
Yeah, I mean, like my kids are still addicted to Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing Transformed and Team Sonic Racing. So I mean, our family is just immediately sold on it.
Yeah, see, some of the tracks reminded me a lot of. I don't remember the name of the game anymore, but the character is in the Smash Brother ones. The guy who says Falcon Punch.
Oh, F-Zero.
Oh, F-Zero.
Yeah, F-Zero. Some of the tracks in the trailer reminded me of F-Zero. So that looked really cool.
My concern with this game is that they're just doing Sonic racing. Like, I like the Sega All-Stars. Like, Sonic's roster is not that interesting. I'm sorry. I don't want to play as 7 versions of Sonic or Tails.
I mean,
Fair.
I mean, you could always play as Big the Cat.
That's probably who I'll pick.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't view that as that big of a deal. I mean, like, we play Team Sonic Racing, and there's 16 different racers to choose from.
I'm just saying, if they branched out to more than just Sonic, I think it'd be more interesting.
They said it will be.
Ah.
Yeah, it's not just Sonic.
I thought you didn't see anything on the game.
That. Interesting.
I read an article, which is how I saw the screenshot. But I still have yet to watch the trailer.
Doing something.
Yay!
Some good news: new Digimon story game coming out. Digimon Story Time Stranger can be coming out 2025. Aki will be happy. This one is coming to Xbox.
Yeah, it had an interesting visual design. I don't know anything really about the Digimon games. I've only played that Digimon Survive game, and it was fine, but not really my taste of game. So I'm kind of looking forward to this.
I was very intrigued by the trailer that they started out with this very anime version of In a World. Where, you know, like it was just this whole thing leading. I was not expecting the Digimon to come out of it at that point. So that was a good surprise.
I was so happy later in it. We got to see some of the Digimon from like the very first season of Digimon, and people were like riding the wolf one, and yeah, that shit was cool. I'm really interested for this. I'm hoping it's more of an action-y game than Survive was. I'm looking forward to this. This could be really interesting to me.
Very cool. Next game was Lost Soul Aside. It's coming out May 30th. I don't really recall much about this one. Someone fill in the blank for me.
Oh, it's a Supermassive Games. It's a dark
Supermassive. That's right.
Yeah, but it's you know sci-fi.
Wait, no, that's Souls-like.
Supermassive Games is Directive 8020.
Oh, sorry, never mind. I'm looking at the wrong notes.
Yeah,
yeah, that one was a bit further on. Lost Souls Aside is a really fast-paced Souls-like game.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It had lots of color in it. If I'm remembering correctly, because there was a few Souls-like games on here. And I kind of just want them all because they all look good.
Well, this one appears to be PlayStation and PC only. So for now, you'll have to get on one of those storefronts. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii demo is coming out this week. You can give the game a spin. Oh, it's out now?
Yeah, it dropped at 10 a.m.
Nice. I didn't know if it was today or tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, it's today.
It was out this week.
I was very upset that I had to work. And then I had to be on this podcast.
Yeah, sucks for you.
You're cutting into my game time, Joe.
Bitch. Ichiban from Like a Dragon is also coming to Dave the Diver, Ichiban's holiday in April. There's another game I'm hoping comes to Xbox soon, Dave the Diver.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
The Splitgate 2 Alpha is going to hit PlayStation on February 27th.
Mm-hmm.
If you like the first Splitgate, I didn't care about it, so sorry. Paul Heyman of the WWE showed up to talk about 2K25 showing off The Island, which is like an open world 50-player living, breathing store that you just buy shit.
Oh,
like
I didn't really understand
accessories.
That.
It's like a
social hub.
Social hub that they have in the 2K game, the NBA games.
Right.
Where you just like live in a city and
I guess I've just never played any of those games. So yeah.
Looks interesting. It's coming out March 14th, so we will see how that turns out. They had a segment for Borderlands 4, which I am disappointed is not called Forderlands. They will have a state of play for Borderlands 4 in spring, and they did reveal it is coming out this year, September 23rd.
Yay!
Awesome. Borderlands was right there, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Disappointed. Hazelight's Split Fiction was shown off.
And that comes out March 6th, doesn't it?
Is it that soon?
I think it is that soon.
Man, creeping up on us. Then they showed off Directive 8020, which is a Dark Pictures game. That's from Supermassive. It's coming out October 2nd. Pre-orders in June, and that one will be on Xbox as well. So there you go, Bri. What else? Yep. What else did you want to say about that one?
I don't know because now I've like totally screwed up my notes even more. No, I'm excited that it's coming to Xbox. It's a Dark Pictures film, but it's all sci-fi, which is interesting. Like, I'm interested to see where they go with that. So yeah.
Kind of reminded me of Dead Space. I was getting some Dead Space vibes.
Yeah, a little bit.
We'll have to keep our eyes on that one. Again, that's out in October. Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic is coming June 13th.
That looked kind of cool.
I've never been a Five Nights at Freddy's guy, so it's just not for me.
Me either.
I'm not the target demo. The Midnight Walk. This one looks amazing.
The claymation one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming out May 8th. We'll have VR2 support. The fact that they just said VR2 support makes me wonder if it could hit other platforms in the future. It doesn't seem like it's an entirely VR game.
Okay, cool.
Know. Something that will hit all platforms is a Konami game called Darwin's Paradox. Revolves around an octopus in a food processing facility. It's going to come out this year.
That looked kind of cute.
Yeah.
Looked adorable. Koei Tecmo showed off a new roguelike game called Warriors Abyss. And surprise, it's out today. Yesterday.
Yeah, I think you'll really like that one.
I want to play it, but apparently the base game is like 25 or 35 and the Ultimate Edition is like 80 because there's just so many costumes and DLC that they're shoving in this game. Yeah. But I might pick up the base game to try it out because it looks fun.
And here are a whole bunch of the most important games they listed now.
All right, Aki, what's next?
Getting into Aki's situation here, yes.
Next is Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny, the remake of the original Onimusha 2. It looks amazing, and I want it. And then they immediately went from
When's
that
it coming out?
I'm pretty sure in May, wasn't it?
May 26th.
I did not list any of the dates for any of this stuff on here.
Shame.
Yeah. And then they immediately went into the brand new Onimusha game, which we just learned about not too long ago, Onimusha Way of the Sword. I I originally thought you were going to be playing as Konosuke from the very first game, and you're not. You're playing as Miyamoto Musashi. So that's interesting. Should I keep going? Because I can keep going.
I mean, that one's out in 2026. I
think one thing that was cool that I just read probably today was that the face that they put on Miyamoto Musashi in the game is actually a very famous actor from the Akira Kurosawa movies. They got the permission to use his face, even though he's been long dead. They've digitized him into the game now to play that role. I think he was like the main character in the movie The Seven Samurai. So I thought that was really neat and like a callback to like the old samurai movies.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I
didn't
will
see
have
that.
to look that up.
Yeah.
All right, Aki, what was the next one?
The next one is Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta.
You mean the trailer
yeah,
that definitely wasn't
excited.
uploaded to PlayStation too early?
Don't care. It still looked real good. I love the updated graphics. And it appears that the Monkey Ball stuff is being put in it because at the very end of
Not
the trailer...
Monkey Ball, Ape Escape.
Ape
Oh,
Escape.
yeah.
Okay, I thought it was Monkey Ball. Okay.
Nope, it's
I
Ape
wasn't sure because
Escape, and that will only be in the PlayStation version of the game. In Xbox, the character will be replaced by Bomberman. Well, Ape Escape is a Sony property.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, Bomberman will be in the other version.
God forbid anything Sony related should be uploaded to any other system, without the enforcement of MLB.
Got the express written permission of MLB. Networks.
I don't remember I don't remember which site it was that I saw it on today. It was either Eurogamer or Kotaku. And they were saying that Xbox is releasing more first-party games on PlayStation than Sony is this year.
I said that they might be.
No, one of them had an article that they are.
I believe it.
That's hilarious.
Well, nothing
Xbox.
Nothing from Xbox was shown off during this event. So,
well, not directly, no, but there were 2 games shown off in this state of play that are coming, I think, day 1 to Game Pass. So
nice. Next game that was up was Hell Is Us, another one on my list because it is another Souls-like. It's more of it gives me a lot of Death Stranding vibes, honestly. But it's a Souls-like game, so I'm very excited for that one.
That's September 4th.
Nice. And then there's a second Lies of P game coming out. It's called Lies of P Overture. It's a prequel set before the first game.
Isn't that DLC? Or is it a whole game?
I think it's a whole game, but I'm not entirely sure. It seemed like it was a full game.
I was under the impression it was DLC coming out in summer.
Let's look that up. I thought it was a whole full-on game.
The mystery to everyone. While you're looking that up, Pixel Junk has a new game called Dreams of Another, developed by Bion. That one will be releasing in 2025. That one looked pretty
interesting.
Unique.
Overture is a DLC.
There you go.
For Lies of P. Still excited. I love Lies of P.
I mean, you could be excited about that, but the real highlight of this event, Days of Gone Remastered, is coming, motherfuckers. New accessibility, permadeath mode, speedrun mode, new content. It's going to be an upgrade for current owners for $10, or it'll be $50 for new purchases. If you have it through the PlayStation Plus redemption, you do not get the free upgrade. You have to have bought it. And it is releasing April 25th.
Fair, I guess.
Yep, everyone's excited.
I don't have a PlayStation, so I don't know what the heck this is.
Days Gone was like a zombie survival game.
No, I heard what it is, but like I never played it, so I don't know how to get excited about it.
It got panned by reviewers, but the general audience actually rather enjoyed it, but because it was panned as not being particularly good by reviewers, not a lot of people bought it. But apparently it's actually a fairly decent game.
Well, you'll have another chance to play it in April. If you didn't already buy it on PS4 or PC, it's remastered. I still don't get why they're doing this, but whatever. Stellar Blade DLC is coming out in June, and a PC version is coming out in June.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's basically... I think it's adding Infinite Nikki to the game, and maybe as costumes or something is what it kind of looked like. I don't know if what all it's adding to it.
Something of a costume crossover or something, but I didn't actually pay much attention to it other than that there was costumes.
Yeah, it's Goddess of Victory Nikke DLC. I don't know if it's adding story stuff or not, but it's at least adding new costumes and new visual designs for whatever the hell her name is in that game. It's a PlayStation only game. I don't know who any of the people are in it, sadly.
That's fair.
I would love to play it, but...
Anyway, that comes out in June. It says the new content will be a boss battle, collectible dolls, stickers, and new outfits.
Nice.
There you go.
What do you do with the stickers?
Put them on your character, I guess.
Well, isn't that a tattoo?
Not if it's a sticker.
Well, yeah, but then that's a temporary tattoo.
No, it's a sticker.
Well, yeah, but why is it a stick? Like, who sticks stickers on themselves?
They did a segment on PlayStation Plus games. Lost Records Bloom and Rage
hold on.
is hitting PlayStation Plus with Tape 1 launching February 18th.
I was asking valid questions here.
Tape 2 will launch in April.
Yay! Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Excited.
I don't like you very much, Joe.
A new game called Blueprints will be on day one on PlayStation Plus. So
that game looks so good.
Does that have stickers in it?
No.
Abiotic Factor day one on PS Plus and Game Pass.
Yes.
That's a surprising news development that it's launching on both subscriptions at the same time. That's pretty cool.
I think Blueprints is coming to Game Pass as well.
Is it?
It is.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It was announced for Xbox some time ago.
Yeah,
so
it's a really cool trailer with the developer talking about his pet project. It's very interesting looking.
Nice.
Yeah, Blueprints was the one that I thought me and Bri would both like because it's an escape the room style game, and then Bri was like, I don't think I'd like that because it has some mystery element to it as well or something.
I think I would like it.
Didn't seem interested. Okay.
No.
Good. I'm glad you're on board with it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
It was the strategy component that I wasn't sure about. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Armored Core 1, Armored Core Project Phantasma, and Armored Core Master of the Arena are, quote, coming soon to the Classics catalog. It is not next week because next week is Patapon 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And after those three, another one of them is going to be coming later on. I don't remember which one, but I know they said three of them, and then they said, and later on, and then they listed another one. I don't know which one it is. Because they're not
classics?
Labeled Armored Core. Yeah, I think it's for Classics, yeah.
Yeah, there's three Armored Core games and then Patapon. Good talk. New game from Eclipse Glow Games is being shown off called Tides of Annihilation. This one looked pretty good.
That looks so good. It's a Souls-like, but it's all cute women. I'm extremely hyped. For absolutely no reason other than it's a Souls-like.
No reason.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
No reason at all. Yep, nothing. Metal Eden was shown off. That is releasing May 6th. Will be on Xbox as well.
That one looked interesting. I don't know that it's my style of gameplay, but it looked interesting.
Yeah.
That one is probably going to be a bit too flashy for me, sadly.
Yeah.
New game Mind's Eye was announced from Build a Rocket Boy. That's releasing summer 2025.
That looked really
Also looked
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
I believe that one is also coming to Xbox. And then they wrapped it all up with a brand new trailer from PlayStation Studios called Saros. It's from the developer of Returnal Housemarque and is coming out 2026. There will be a first look of gameplay coming later this year.
Looked pretty cool.
Did they announce the Concord 2?
No Concord 2. But yeah, that was the PlayStation State of Play. I thought it was decent if you're a gamer. If you're a PlayStation fan, I think it was pretty bad. Like, they didn't show a lot just for PlayStation people there.
And I was kind of fine with this.
I was kind of expecting Ghost of Yote, and I was sorely disappointed when that didn't show up.
I mean, there were a lot of rumors too that
later.
There were rumors we might see a new Parasite Eve there. Like, a lot of people were disappointed in that. A lot of people were expecting Hellblade 2 was going to be there. I'm sure they're just going to shadow release that in April, like the rumors are saying. But I don't think it was a very overall great show. I think it was middling. The games looked good, but nothing really stood out to me. And their big highlight was friggin' Days Gone. I don't know
why they put so much emphasis on Days Gone of all fucking things, but I thought it was a fairly good showing. There was a lot of really cool games there, but yeah, for PlayStation fans who just don't want anyone else to be able to play their games, that's probably not the best showing.
For the PlayStation people who must hoard everything.
Yeah, because a lot of these games are coming to other things, so it's not much for them, but for, everyone else, I think this was a pretty good showing. There was a lot of really cool games.
There was also high expectations for them because of the outage that they had last week, where PlayStation Network was down for about 20 hours with no reason given.
Oof.
Sony's extending everyone's PS Plus membership for 5 days.
Nice.
Woo.
A lot of people are annoyed because, like, if they renewed at Black Friday, this pushes them to after Black Friday, and they can't get the deal when they renew.
Oh, no. Yep.
That was apparently the anniversary of Helldivers, and people couldn't get on to play.
And the Monster Hunter beta.
Yeah.
That was a great weekend to go out.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have it on PC. So,
let's see. PlayStation Plus game catalog for February. These come out next week on the 18th. They're getting Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Topspin 2K25, Lost Records Tape 1 Bloom, Saga Frontier Remastered, Somerville, Tin Hearts, and Mordau.
Some decent games there.
Yeah,
good games. Not a huge month, but some good games in there. Lost Records being a big highlight for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the classics, Patapon 3 from the PSP and Dropship United Peace Force from the PS1. Like, there are so many games they could be releasing in this program, and they went with Dropship United Peace Force. Or if you would have told me that game didn't exist, I would believe you. But they showed screenshots, so it apparently does exist. Never heard of it. I don't know.
Me either.
PS5's now over 75 million units shipped, which is insane.
Yeah.
Elden Ring Night Rain is releasing May 30th. So that has a release date on it.
Nice.
The Tuesday crew's going to lose their minds about that. Crytek is laying off about 15% of its workforce, totaling around 60 people. Crisis 4 development is being put on hold.
Oh, I thought it was closer to like 400 people, but yeah.
I think they said that's how many people are at the studio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be. But they're trying to shuffle some people to Hunt Showdown 1896, it looked like. To try and save some people from having to go, but yeah, they're laying off a lot of people.
Yeah. Hate to see it.
Layoffs just keep going.
Let's fix that with some good news. Wallace and Gromit pack for Power Wash Sim, March 4th.
Nice.
Right around the corner.
That's awesome.
And then the best news in the world, this is what everybody's been waiting for. Overwatch 2 is bringing back loot boxes.
Oh, thank God.
Joy.
And that's what everyone wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, kids?
I was going with World Peace for a while, but then they announced loot boxes, and I was like, thank God.
Maybe
I didn't have that on my bingo card.
Box.
The 5 trillion to 1 odds of getting it.
Did you get World Peace?
Yeah.
No, I just got a skin. He's wearing a traffic cone on his head. Aki, what news do you have?
None, because I don't do news.
Yay.
I do reviews.
Bree, what have you got?
Well, let's see. Football Manager 25 was canceled and is no longer coming to Game Pass. Instead, they'll focus on making next year's game better. They're not done with the series or the franchise, but they just could not make this year's work.
Okie dokie.
The Alters has been delayed again to sometime later this year. It will also still arrive day one on Game Pass, but just later this year. No definitive date, just later this year. And let's see, Call of Duty is getting some kind of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover.
Interesting.
Okay.
That was just a little trailer with the highlight, but no real information. I'll have to look more into that and see what they're actually doing.
Or have a gun that shoots pizza.
It could be. And then Valve banned all games on Steam that require players to watch ads.
Good.
That
Nice.
seems like a good move. So
that's that's
clarifying previous, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that was already a thing, but they updated to what exactly it means.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all the news I had.
Jacob, anything on your end?
Believe it or not, I only have one bit of news, and I'm gonna mispronounce his name. I apologize. Peter Tua as the guy who played Honda in Street Fighter, the 1994 movie, he passed away. Which, I mean, if also you're a John Cena fan, he was in 12 Rounds. No?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a security guard in the elevator who died. Spoilers.
I mean, if you're worried about spoilers from that movie, you got problems. I don't know what to tell you. Thimmer mentioning that the director of Dragon Quest XII confirmed the game is still coming. So there you go. It still exists.
Yay.
Josh, any news on your end?
I think I read somewhere that Square Enix is looking into putting their Final Fantasy 16 and all of that to Xbox, which would be pretty cool if that ends up coming to fruition.
Oh, I hope so.
That is in fact a rumor I've heard as well. So
yeah, because they didn't really make. Yeah, well, I mean, it's like they learned a lesson by cutting out all the other consoles and platforms and not making as much money as they would have.
Yeah.
So, also, speaking of Final Fantasy, that actually that reminds me of another news item I had. Square Enix is shutting down the iOS version of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles because it has a bug that they just can't kill. And so they're just like, screw it, we're just going to get rid of it. Players were
wasn't
unable.
the bug related to purchases?
Yes, they were unable to access additional content purchased for iOS for the iOS version of the game because there were changes that they made to the in-app purchases model within the game or something. I don't know. But they were unable to fix the bug, and so they were just like, we're done. So if you made in-app purchases in January 2024 or later, you can get a refund through Apple support, and otherwise you're kind of screwed. but you can still play it on other platforms. So
yeah. Sadly, it's not on Xbox. It's on PS4, Switch, and PC. And Mr.
Everything
Coolness,
else.
thank you for the 7-month sub. Always good seeing you here. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy the emotes, all the kitty cats. Sir Khaled just subbed as well. Thank you, Sir. I can't talk. Thank you, Sir Khaled. Jordan was earlier. I thank you, I believe. Yeah, a lot of subs. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the kitty cat emotes. Josh, we are going to have to wrap everything up. We got a bunch of games that we got to talk about for reviews. I want to thank you so much for coming on, hanging out with us, spending an evening with us, just bullshitting and talking about Fallen Aces, the soundtrack, news, everything else. Where can people keep up to date with you and what you're doing?
Yeah, well, thanks again for inviting me and having me on. And secondly, you can keep up with everything related to me on my website. It's joshbarroncomposer.com. And all of my social links are at the very bottom of the website. So we've got like a banner down there. And so you can, you can subscribe to my Discord and all of that down there in one place.
Very cool. We will have a link to that in our show notes, so make sure to check those out and check out Josh and everything he's doing. Josh, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here. Nice meeting all of you.
Yes, same.
Were you about to
Before you head out,
Aki.
In your D&D campaign, because I don't care about the show as much, you need, since you're bringing in Baldur's Gate 3 people, you need to bring in Best Girl Golden Retriever Karlach. You just have to.
Yeah, I thought about that actually.
She's the best. You have to. It's a requirement.
Yeah, it takes place, I think, like 2 or 3 years after Baldur's Gate 3 happens. So, like, I'm not sure if she'll be back from Avernus, because I know spoiler alerts. But if depending on what happens in the end, she needs to go there for reasons that are apparent to the people who beat it.
It's fine.
Yeah, I thought about doing that at the very end. They like end up in Avernus and in hell, and then they have to, maybe they die at the end of it, and then their souls go to hell, and then they have to do a Kratos or a Dante and then climb back out of hell.
If they're anything like most of the games I've played of D&D, if they died, that's probably where they belong.
Yeah. Murder hobos.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but hopefully I'll think about it. I'll let you guys know in your Discord what happens.
Awesome.
Please do.
Yeah, keep us updated. And,
sure, we'll do.
When book 2's ready to go, hit us up and come back on.
All right, we'll do on that.
Do you have any final words before we let you go?
So if you're a developer listening to this show, I am definitely open for commissions and new projects. So I definitely have an open schedule right now. So I'd love to be able to discuss your vision for a game or a project that you may have. It doesn't have to be a game. It could be a short film, an animation, whatever it is you need music for, I can definitely do it. And then also definitely buy the soundtrack. It's super cheap for like almost 2 hours of music. So
that's a long soundtrack.
Really good deal. Yeah, it definitely is a lot of bang for your buck.
Beefy tracks on there. Love it.
No tariffs on it.
Oh, painful.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Another thanks to Josh Barron for coming on, chatting about the music, the game, the news, all the fun stuff, the D&Ds. We got games to review. Everyone ready for these?
Yay.
Yay. Yay. First game, Big Helmet Heroes, developed by Exalted Studio, published by Dear Villagers, released February 6th on Xbox Series X and S, Switch, PS5, PC for $24.99. Discover the hilarious world of Big Helmet Heroes, a 3D beat-em-up combining combat and adventure. Find 29 adorable heroes hidden in fantastic kingdoms and choose your favorites to save the princess. Play alone or with a friend and try to overcome the formidable challenges that await you. Jacob, what is Big Helmet Heroes?
So Big Helmet Heroes is a beat 'em up game. Very, I found it to be kind of similar in the vein of Castle Crashers, that classic game from ye olden Xbox 360 days. And you're running around as these one of these multiple heroes, and you're just you're just beating everybody up. As you go through this, various kingdom. I mean, there's also sea portions where you could face off against a kraken and stuff. But what I thought was really cool is now, I mean, I might be wrong on this, but when I played Castle Crashers back in the day, there wasn't any difference between any of the knights, right?
I believe they're elemental magic attack.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
stat-wise, I think at the start they were all basically even.
Okay, that's all right. That's along the lines of what I was thinking. Well, anyways, with this, everyone has different attack modes. One guy is the big heavy guy. Kind of like a regular old Streets of Rage or something like that. You've got the one who's quick and moves fast. And what's really cool is that if you're playing the single player, you can just swap in between the different characters, and it makes for really fast and fun gameplay, and really frantic too. And it's just fun, going through, seeing what you can destroy, picking up items like bombs and using those to clear paths. But yeah, and it's fun too. Also doing couch co-op, because I was doing that with my kids. And they were having a lot of fun.
How well did it play in co-op?
It did okay. I was going to bring this up in a minute, but whatever. There were points where there was some definite frame rate slowdown, which I was a little surprised, but usually it was when we were doing big attacks, and so I was oh well, maybe it's that's why, or something like that, and it's being artistic. And then later on, when we're just all swarming and doing normal attacks, it was oh no, this just seemingly randomly happens. But at the same time, I didn't that didn't happen to me when I was playing single player, so I don't know if it was a couch co-op issue or if it was just luck of the draw, or what. But yeah, so sometimes it does slow down, and it becomes a little bit difficult to figure out who's doing what. Which, to be fair, I mean, there's plenty of beat 'em up game moments like that where God only knows who you're hitting, as long as you're hitting something. You'll make it to the next thing. But as I was saying, the controls are fast and furious, the fighting. It's a lot of fun to go through this, especially, as I said, with my kids. I was having a blast in single or co-op. My only real big issue with it is that the camera sucks sometimes, and it becomes real hard to figure out where things are in position to where your guy is. And so if you have to destroy something by throwing a bomb at it, you could seriously waste 5 or 6 bombs just trying to figure out how far you actually need to be. Otherwise it's just going to go over the area that you were supposed to blow up, and it's just going to hit a tree. And I was oh well, at least if I'm close enough, maybe it'll also hit a guy. No, these bombs seem to be very specific as to what they're going to be blowing up, or the levels are built that way. And yeah, so it took a lot of trial and error with that. And I mean, all games have a level of trial and error, but this was one that it was it felt like it was more of a camera issue than anything. but yeah, like I saw that there's a deluxe edition of this. What does that have?
I
Out of
don't
curiosity.
see anything about a deluxe edition in my notes. Let me look up on the store. Big Helmet Hero. I'm not seeing anything. Wonder if it was like a soundtrack and art book or something.
Oh, it's an Exalted edition. Oh, I guess Nintendo got that. Oh, they got an art book and soundtrack. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
That may have been a launch bonus on there as well. I don't know.
No. Okay.
All right.
But yeah,
No, go ahead.
But yeah, there's also like other stuff that are like kind of play out almost like mini games. Like where you have to like manage cannons and stuff. And so honestly, it's pretty fun. So yeah.
All right, well, it clocks in at $24.99. What are your thoughts?
Like, it could use some more polish, but honestly, like, I thought this was a pretty fun game. And especially, like, if you're looking for some fun co-op beat-em-up stuff that, like, you can play, like, a level together and then go off and do whatever. The pick-up and play factor for this is pretty high. And I was, like, we were enjoying ourselves quite a bit. So I'd recommend it at the current price.
Very good. All right, next game, Afterlove EP, developed by Pikselnesia, I believe, Pikselnesia, published by Fellow Traveler, released February 14th on Series X and S, Switch, PS5, and PC for $19.99. From the creator of Coffee Talk and What Comes After comes a slice-of-life adventure set in the modern Jakarta about love, loss, and finding your own way forward. Step into the shoes of Rama, a young musician struggling to move on with life after the death of his girlfriend. Bri and Aki, both of you played this. Bri, start us off. What's Afterlove EP?
So the story starts out with Rama taking down some old photos and having a specific memory that gives us some backstory. He's playing with the band Sigmund Feud, and his girlfriend Cinta is in the front row cheering him on, even though she appears to be sick. And then after the show, he goes out drinking with the band, and she goes home, and he wakes up the next morning, and he's got this beat in his head, totally misses the call that his girlfriend's in the hospital, and by the time he gets there, she's passed away from whatever her ailments were. It starts out pretty freaking sad. Back to the present, we find out he's not been dealing with his grief very well. He hasn't played with the band in a year. Rama goes out to meet with them for coffee, and this is kind of what starts his real healing process. The band has moved on a little without Rama, who's stuck in this, grief funk. He's trying to do better. Tasia, the bass player, throws Rama for a loop when she says that they're booked as an opening act to a big name band, that they have a few weeks to get the band back together and perfect their material, or she's leaving them for another band. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're trying therapy. We're trying to get back out in the world and find a new muse for our music. We meet Mira, the character through the drummer's girlfriend, who's like a model. She's dreamy and feels like it's meant to be something special for us. And we start to meet all these different characters that are very supportive of his healing process. But he's got to step out and do the work himself. And this is like an Indonesian visual novel mixed with a rhythm game. I can't word. From the creator of Coffee Talk. You do have sections where you walk around and interact things. So like I can't entirely call it a visual novel, maybe like a narrative adventure. There's a run button to help you get to the story faster, but I enjoyed exploring the town and talking to different people. Story takes place one day at a time over the month of September of 2017. The game is partially voice acted, specifically that Cinta's voice is in his head talking to Rama all the time. She offers encouragement and hints about where to go from time to time, but also leads to some awkward conversations because he sometimes responds to what's in his head as opposed to what's really going on in the room, which is a little bit of levity to the conversations that are going on and dealing with the grief and stuff. The art style is like manga sketches filled in with color. It's really cute style. And then there are those interludes I mentioned with the rhythm game. Notes come from both sides of the screen, even on easy, and you hit the correct button when it reaches the middle. I found these to be a neat way to play with the story and hear the music as part of the story, not just as the background.
And there's 3 different modes for that.
Yeah, there's like a normal, an easy, and an auto.
Yeah, and for those of you who want achievements, you have to do all but the very first one perfectly on normal. They're not super duper hard, but because it's coming from both sides of the screen, it isn't easy either.
Yeah.
Save scum it. It's fine.
And the soundtrack is dreamy. Like, ethereal guitars help set the mood. You got slow drums. Like, it's a really good soundtrack. And the Lalphaba, or however it's supposed to be said, they're actually like a popular Indonesian band. Apparently, they did the music for the game. They're also kind of like a character in the game, as like a cute way of dealing with that material, which I thought was nice. You do have some options for text, slow through instant. You can set the rhythm game to easy or auto, like I mentioned. Because I did hear from Aki first, I put the text on slow. There is an autoplay function, but most of the time the dialogue stops and waits for your input to move on. During cutscenes, however, the text will keep going.
Yeah, there's 3 different types of conversations. There's ones that you can click A and they'll fill out the text, then you can click A and move forward in it. There's one where the game decides, hey, yeah, we're just going to fill this in, and once it gets to the end of this bubble, we're going to immediately move into the next bubble. And if this person's saying multiple things one after another, well, if you haven't kept up, suck a dick, I guess. And then the third type is a extremely slow bit where they'll put up some text and then they'll sit there for like 3 times longer than is necessary to read it and then move on. And it just kind of pulls them at random sometimes. And if you have the text set to autofill real quickly, you will not have the time during that second type where it auto goes to read anything, because it'll just boost right through that. You'll be through a conversation that should have taken you like 5 minutes in like 10 seconds, which isn't useful.
I didn't have as many problems with it. I did accidentally hit the autoplay button once, and I lost a little bit of conversation there. For whatever reason, Cinta's voice acting dialogue like just blew right through, and I was like, why did I press? How do I stop this?
I didn't accidentally press that because I didn't even know you had a button to do that.
You don't have a ton of text choices like a regular visual novel. It's mostly small stuff for tone, but there are choices that matter later on because there are at least 4 different endings. There are some achievements for doing the rhythm game on normal, like we mentioned. There is a manual save, which I'm super glad I figured out before my internet went down. That would have been crushing to redo all of that. But, this is a story about overcoming grief and finding a path to a renewed life. It's really got some insight into how people process feelings, and I loved that. The game's really good about giving you some clues to what you should be doing next, but that isn't always the case, which can be frustrating. You just have to make a guess who you should talk to get the next quest hook. Bleh. Rama has a great support system around him to help him through his grief now that he's back out in the world. And it isn't easy. Like, his friends are being honest about what they went through when he ghosted them. The characters, like the bandmates, the guy who runs the record shop, are all fleshed out with good dialogue, writing, and quirks. I found myself really enjoying this one in spurts, like watching a show every night after dinner. It's not full of action, but it is full of character. And it would take an in-game day or 2 at a time. Like, you can just save the game there, come back to it later, and you got the game in little chunks. That was how I was enjoying playing it, and you can save at any time between conversations, so that made it really good for like episodic play. Aki, did you have any other thoughts on what you played?
I didn't get as far into it as you did by any stretch of the means. By the first conversation in the diner, I didn't know what was going on because I can't read as fast as the game wants me to when it takes control. So I kind of stopped because I'm like, it would get to points where one of their first conversation things where you have to make a choice popped up, and I didn't even know what I was supposed to be answering because I couldn't keep up with the chat. So I stopped playing then. However, for anyone who's like, oh, wow, that sounds real bad, they are fixing that. It's going to be in a patch at some time, hopefully fairly soon. Don't know
there
exactly
was
when,
a patch that just came out the other day, so I don't know if that was included in that patch. But I did notice that updated. So, yeah.
Even if that isn't the patch, that patch is coming. And they're going to make it to where all of them can be moved forward by pushing A manually. So, yeah, I didn't get very far because I need that manual so I can read stuff.
Yeah, I lost a little bit due to Cat walking in front of me. That was pretty much my stress for that. But yeah. But no, I really enjoyed this one so far. So
I like the concept of it.
Any other thoughts?
If you enjoyed something like Coffee Talk, you're okay dealing with the topic of grief and sadness, like I can recommend this one. The music has a great indie vibe. I'm really looking forward to getting all the endings.
Cool. Well, it clocks in at $19.99. Give us your thoughts. I
would say I can give it a buy it. I like I said, I didn't have as many of the problems. I read really fast. I know that they're going to be working on that so that hopefully Aki will be able to enjoy it as well. And I think the price is right for the amount of content. It's a good amount of game with multiple endings. So
cool. Aki?
For me, currently, it's not a buy it because I couldn't keep up with stuff. Once that patch comes out, though, it's going to be a buy it because I do like the premise of the story and I liked what parts I was able to actually keep up with. So I think it's a buy it if you can either read real quick or it's a buy it after they get that patch out that allows you to manually forward through all the conversations instead of just some of them.
Yeah, I would tell you to check, but you're next. So, next game to talk about, While Waiting, developed and published by Optillusion, released February 5th on Steam for $19.99, presented by the team behind the critically acclaimed Moncage. I don't know, I haven't played that game. This is a transformative... There you go. This is a transformative adventure exploring the art of waiting. Clear the game by doing nothing, but discover the power of acceptance and patience in numerous situations from birth to death. Learn to embrace life as you wait. Aki, what is While Waiting?
Okay. In While Waiting, you play as a young boy to old man. You play through this guy's life basically at various points where he is waiting for shit to happen. There are a bunch of stickers you get in every level for doing different things in each level. One of them is for doing literally nothing in that level and just letting him sit and wait until whatever's supposed to happen happens. And if you do that for every level like you're supposed to, it takes like 3.5-4 hours to beat the game. So there's that. There are 100 levels in this game, and they're split between him being a child, him being a teenager, a young adult, and an old man. I think there's one more, but I don't remember what it was anymore. And yeah, some of the levels are, he's waiting at a bus stop. And either you can just sit there or wait, or you can do some other things that are there, like you can get on the bus with the most money, which requires you to find a big bag of money that is dropped at some point during the level, or there's a sticker for basically owning the entire pushboard that's in the back of the bus stop, which requires you to place pictures over the whole thing so that only your pictures are shown and things like that. So yeah, I can't really say there's not much to the game since there's 100 levels to it. But all of the levels are just a couple minutes long. So, and what you're able to do in the levels are completely different in between each level, but it's all just doing random weird stuff to get the stickers. And there is a little hint system. When you click the start button, it'll tell you kind of the basis of sort of what you need to do for it. You still have to figure it out, but it gives you a little hint for it, as well as the stickers.
I'm looking at the Steam page, and I'm looking at the screenshots for the game. It's like, wait to be born, wait to block the ball in soccer, wait for heavy traffic clear, wait to claim your bag at the airport, wait for people to like your post, or in our case, wait for people to watch our episode.
We would have to wait so much longer than he ever did.
Oh, so much waiting. Still waiting.
That's what like all of it is. It's wait for this, wait for that. For 100 levels. And if you sit there and wait, or if you don't sit there and wait, the game takes 4 to 5 hours per run, and chances are you're probably going to have to play through multiple levels 4, 5, 10, 12 times to try and get some of these. Others you'll be able to complete all of them on the second time you play that level. You have to play it through every single one of the 100 levels at least twice, because there's an achievement for getting all the stickers, and one of the stickers in all of them is to do nothing the entire level. So you have to play through it twice. I have not gotten even half the stickers. I have played through all the levels, but I haven't managed to get even half the stickers yet. I've gotten less than a quarter of them, I think, actually, because I'm missing some from the first 10 levels, and I think I've gotten to like level 15 or 20 or something like that, collecting most of the stickers. I haven't even collected all of them from that. Like there are some right now that no one actually knows how they get the stickers still. So I'm hopefully we'll be able to figure that out at some point. But yeah,
the game's only been out a week, so give it time.
Within a few days, almost all of the stickers were found. It was insane. I think there's like 4 or 5 that people haven't been able to figure out out of the over 600 I think there are.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, yo.
It kind of like reminds me of McPixel or something, like where you're trying to just do these really random things.
It is very much like that. Yeah. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. This game is going to take me so long to 100% just because there's so much shit to do.
Well, it clocks in at $20. What are your thoughts?
If you like collecting collectibles, I think this game is totally going to be for you. Because that's basically what these stickers are. It's do this little random thing, get a sticker. Oh, do that another 5 times in this level. You might get them all. Have fun. So this is very much a collectathon type game. If that sounds like that's for you, that you like that, then this game is easily a recommended. If that sounds like hell, this game is definitely not going to change your mind with these 600 stickers plus that it has. Yeah. So I think it's at least a try it, just because this is going to be polarizing. Either you're going to love it or you're going to absolutely hate this game, and it's very flip-floppy on just depending on who it is. So
gotcha.
Try it at least.
And now for Sportball Shenanigans with Dingleberry Jacob Garner on the SML podcast. We tried to get Bob Costas, and he was all like, no.
All right, next game is Accolade Sports Collection, developed and published by QUByte Interactive, released January 30th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, PC for $19.99. Step back into the golden age of sports gaming with the Accolade Sports Collection featuring 5 legendary titles: Hardball, Hardball 2, Hoops, Shut Up and Jam, Winter Challenge, and Summer Challenge. This collection delivers nostalgic thrills with modern enhancements. Jacob, what is going on in Accolade Sports Collection?
Oh, God. So this is a retro game collection of various sports games that were made by Accolade, a game dev from the late 80s, or from pretty much from the 80s to the early 90s. I knew them because they made the Dual Test Drive 2, which was a favorite car racing game of mine, and I never really bothered with any of their other titles, but holy crap, like going through what they made but way back in the day, it was quite a lot. And so with this, we get 5 sports titles. You get Hardball 1 and 2, Hoops, Shut Up and Jam, which if like we would have known it as Charles Barkley's Shut Up and Jam, but they've since removed all the Charles Barkley references from that game. And then we have summer games and winter games, which are pretty much just like like your standard Olympics games without actually saying that they're from the Olympics. So I'm just going to go down like the list of games. Hardball 1 and 2. Like, as I said, keep in mind, this is a retro a collection. And one of the nice things about this is that you can go and see how far we've come from these kind of games. Hardball 1 and 2 were honestly my least favorite out of this whole entire series. I played EA's Triple Play baseball back in the late 90s, and nowadays I'm playing MLB The Show. And this game, like, I get how it could be some nostalgic, retro fun for everyone. I hated my time with these games. Like, it was absolute hell hitting a baseball that would get anywhere past the infield. And like pitching was just also equally bad. And granted, the game includes the manuals, and there are like little training things to make it so so you could do everything, but hitting is absolute hell in this game. The camera is viewed from the pitcher's mound, and so like you're trying to be like the hitter and hit like at like a weird, not quite straight angle, but like, oh god, like the timing was just absolute hell through that game. And they made 6 of these things back in the day. Like, I didn't realize like the Hardball series went on for that long. I was just like, damn. But like back in the day, this was it. Shut Up and Jam is it's kind of like NBA Jam. In like it's a much quicker, zippier, like 2-on-2 game. The AI is seriously annoying, especially as you get towards the end of the game, or like towards the end of a basketball game, because it starts pulling out all these bullshit, like shots that, like, of course they're gonna make it. And yeah, it's just frustrating with that. Honestly, I really summer games. That's pretty much just like, all the track and field stuff that you would expect from the Olympics in the summertime. To be honest, winter games was my favorite one. Graphically, this one was far more impressive than any of the other games that are in this collection. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like pretty surprised with how well it looked. But I was also starting to wonder whether this is just cleverly, almost like an animated visual novel. Like, because I found out that years ago that they made the Dual Test Drive 2. That was made in HyperCard for like on old Macs. Like that It was like a drawing and animating tool that you could use, and I'm like, and so I'm watching this, like, or I'm playing the Winter Games thing, and like as I'm going down like on a ski slalom and completely failing it, I'm missing a bunch of the gates. I'm used to that. That's fine. But it's just like the way that the camera moves, it gives you this illusion that like you're moving through like a near to like 3D environment. Not quite, almost like kind of like some sort of like Plato's like, you know, shadows on the wall kind of thing. It looks like it's 3D, but you know it's not, and it's just I don't know. I just found it very visually interesting, and they're fun to play. I had fun doing the bobsled courses as well, and the luge. Those were fun. Like just trying to like make sure that your sled is staying on the track correctly. I ate shit most of the time, but
not shocked.
Yeah, no, I wasn't either. Again, as I said, like when you're playing this, you're just like, wow, we've come quite a far way in like 30 odd years of gaming. So if you're into retro gaming, then yeah, this is definitely worth a look. If you're not, then holy crap, just stay with modern games. Like this is an interesting like museum piece for this kind of stuff. But like these games are rough, and they have not all aged well.
Well, the package is $20, so it comes down to like $4 a game. Is it worth it?
I'd say wait for a sale. Like it's a try it. I would if you're used to playing like MLB The Show, just stay away from Hardball. But the rest of them are okay.
All right, next up, Spirit Swap, Lo-Fi Beats to Match 3-2, developed and published by Soft Not Weak, released February 3rd, Xbox One, Series X and S, and Steam for $19.99. Cast spells, be queer, and crash the biggest concert of the year. Spirit Swap is an action puzzle meets narrative game set in a lush world of witchy demons. All four of us got to check this one out thanks to the awesome folks at Soft Not Weak. Bri, how about you start us off? What's going on in your time with Spirit Swap?
So I feel like the title is really self-explanatory. It's a match 3 game with lo-fi beats until you realize it's a whole visual novel mixed in, and the match 3 has special rules. There are several modes. You have the story mode, a one-player endless mode, and a 2-player local versus. There's more to the match 3. You have spell slots that remove things in special patterns, like a square or an X. So instead of just matching a line, you also match the spell patterns to get the match. But you can only swap pieces on the board, moving up from the bottom instead of things falling down. Well, sort of. I'm trying to think of how to describe this. You can swap left and right, but you can also swap into an empty space. It's horizontal, not vertical.
You ever played Tetris Attack, Pokemon Puzzle League? That's what this game is. Okay.
So when you make a match, it freezes time. You have a little time to think about your next move, and if any of your columns reach the top, it's game over. On endless mode, you have speed and difficulty options. You have like vibe, chill, spicy, and sheesh. On those are your difficulties. On story mode, you don't get the vibe mode, but you do get the speed options. You've like 1 through exclamation point. It's like 10 is, an exclamation point, and it's red, and it's way too fast.
And you don't play it.
Yeah, I accidentally switched to that one time, and I was like, holy.
It takes less than 10 seconds from to go to the start to you've lost if you put it on the highest speed. Don't do it unless you're putting it on the AIs. I have friends who will
take that game, play it on max speed, and destroy it. I guarantee you I have friends who will do that.
Good for them.
They are so excited about this game.
When they play it, make sure they get recordings, because I want to see whatever bullshit they're doing, because I have trouble on the lowest speed, because it does slowly ramp up in speed. The longer you play a level, the faster it starts moving, and I've lost while on the lowest difficulty many a times because it started moving too quick. No, just no.
Yeah. But on story mode, you read through some text that gives you the story before you do the matches, where you find out that you're a witch with a Froggo as your familiar.
Who's really cute.
Yes. The story also gives you a tutorial about how to swap spirits on the board to make a match. I wish I'd played this mode first, so I understood the hows and whys of spirit swapping. They're heavy.
I started with the versus mode.
So you only swap horizontally, not vertically. I started with endless mode. Or that you can hit left bumper to bring in another row so you have more material to swap with. That was a handy thing to know. You have a room you can decorate and things you can do, like prep your spells in your room. There's a world map where you can select friends to hang out with, or challenge to swap with, or romance as you get through the story. When you get into a versus match, the better you do, the more garbage blocks appear on your opponent's screen. If you win the match, you get a heart. You get 3 hearts and you win the match. Pretty easy to get through that. And if you just want to focus on the story, you can pause and select auto win, which is a nice addition, because the story was really cute. And then you get spells and decorations from these encounters with your friends. Yeah, it's not super long. Quickly in the story, we find out the spirits are appearing in places they shouldn't. And we've got to get to the bottom of it by using our witchy powers to send the spirits back to their realm. And like I mentioned earlier, you can almost, I think you can romance most of the characters you meet through the story, if not all of them. I haven't completed. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was all but one. It is partially voice acted. The characters are interesting. Their places are full of personality. The game's pretty chill. But it's more than a match 3. Like, you've got like these different spells that make a familiar genre new and interesting, in my opinion. I thought the story mode was pretty great. The music was fun. I think there's some broken achievements right now.
Yeah, that's never fun.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 broken ones. All the rest still work, but the main story also seems slightly broken, because when you play through the story, after you've beat the story, you can go back into story mode, and that's where you get to romance all the other characters. And every time you quit out the game and you go back in, it tells you what percentage of the game you have done. And I've finished the entire thing. I'm missing an item for my room customization, and it's saying I'm 68% of the way through the story, even though there's literally nothing else I can do in it. So it's a little bit broken. Also, there's an achievement for getting with all the characters, for romancing them all. It's broken currently. There's an achievement for playing as all 9 of the different characters in versus mode. That's currently broken. And there's an achievement for getting 2,500 swaps through any mode you want. And it may or may not be broken. I don't know, because there's no tracker to know how many you've done. So it might be broken. It may not. I don't know. But yeah,
it looks like those 3 are borked.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
No one on True Achievements has any of those 3.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I had a feeling
Bri,
it was borked.
Good job on being the second person to hit 5 million points.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks.
Nice.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's first.
Oh, okay.
That's the first thing I did in that game. Like, this is Tetris Attack. I'm playing the shit out of this. Jacob, did you get to play this one at all?
A little bit. I was playing through it, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little confused by it, because I'm not big on these kind of like match 3 games. Like, I had my time with Puzzle Fighter Turbo way back in the day. And once I realized that was kind of what I was playing, like, I was off to the races and I was having fun. But yeah, like, it's a chill game. I understand that it adds a level of difficulty, but I'm not thrilled that I can't move the gems vertically.
Yeah, when I started the game, I started on
it drives me up the wall, but I do enjoy the like gravity thing, like making him be able to fall. That's an interesting change for that.
I think if you were able to switch them vertically, it would completely change how the game is played.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think they wanted to go with something more familiar and more established gameplay wise, because like if you tell someone Tetris Attack, Pokemon Puzzle League, Panel de Pon, what are the other names that they called this on the Nintendo? Just Puzzle Challenge or whatever the hell it was. Like, people who know this genre of puzzle game are losing their minds that there's a new one that they can play and master. And there's a lot of excitement for this game that I'm seeing among my friends.
Yeah, the concept of mastering it is really amusing to me. Because in the story mode, most of my matches lasted around 20 seconds. Because I did a really high risk, high reward play style personally. I just kept adding rows until I was one row away from losing.
Yeah.
And then I'd make as many matches as I could going horizontally at near the bottom and working my way up until I won. It was fun. I lost quite a few times because of that, but I won so many more.
Yeah, once you see the video I linked in chat, you'll be like, oh, that's what you do. All about chains, getting the blocks to drop into new matches.
Yeah, I think my largest chain in that game was like 12, which was, in my opinion, insane, because usually I get like 3. But
all right, well, this is a $20 game. What does everyone think of it?
Yeah, I'd be all right with that.
Bri?
I think I'm good with that too. It's got a good story. The music was good. I really want them to fix those achievements, but after that, I'm good with a buy it.
I definitely think it's a buy it, especially if they fix those 3 broken ass achievements. Something that we didn't really touch on. I really liked all the romances in it. They were all really cute. Even characters that I was like not really into at first, they all grew on me in these short little romances. They're all so cute. So totally.
I like the polycule. Yeah.
Yes, right?
All right. Any other thoughts on Spirit Swap?
What are yours? You played it too.
I love it. I love the visuals. I love the gameplay. The music is chill. I like the visual novel aspect to it. I like the inclusion of magic spells to give it a little twist and some added fun in the matches. I gotta keep playing and playing, and I've always had fun with these games. And like many of my friends, I'm thrilled to see a new one come out. So as good as I am at Tetris, I'm not that good at Tetris Attack, but I still have a good time with it.
Did you play through any of the romances? I don't know how far you got into it, or if you were just playing the endless or versus.
I played mostly endless. Like I've played it like 3 or 4 times. First 2 times were purely endless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jacob, did you get through any of the romances?
No.
Okay, so only me and Bri did. All right, and Bri's favorite was the polycule. My favorite was probably Meow. She's
the
gorgeous.
Girls like the romance. And the guys just want the action.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned, because next Thursday on the show, we're going to have Jenny Wyndham from Soft Not Weak joining us on the show to chat about the game. So stay tuned. Next game to talk about is Please Be Happy, developed by Studios Élan, published by Sometimes You, released February 21st on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and Windows Store for $19.99 each. Please Be Happy is a comfy slice-of-life visual novel set in a fictional version of Wellington, New Zealand. Aki, tell us about your time with Please Be Happy.
Okay. First and foremost, this is a Yuri visual novel, which means it's all about the gay ladies. So, yay. It's been a while since I've had one of these. I'm super happy. In this, you play as a young nine-tailed fox called Meow. And obviously, as per everything, she has a human form. but she has a special, unique little curse. Yep. Yeah. I'll go ahead and write it down, son of a bitch. And and the curse is basically within 40 or 24 to 48 hours, people forget ever meeting her. So she has, thanks to being a nine-tailed fox, she was originally just a normal fox and then became something more. And she's living in today's society now, and she's been alive for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so she's been mostly stealing things to survive because, you know, it's really hard to have lasting friendships when people forget you exist within 24 hours. So she's always been alone, and she's a really good thief because of that. And she has come to New Zealand basically on a lark. She heard some people talking about the place, so she decided to stow away on an airplane that she calls an airship. So cute. And then she ran away from customs because she knew they would forget that she existed. And yeah, it's about her and learning about this city and deciding to settle down in it because she meets two individuals, two young ladies, one of them named Aspen and the other named Juliet. Aspen is seemingly just a normal woman. She happens to work in the coffee shop that Meow enters on her first day. And for some reason, this woman doesn't forget her after meeting her the first time, which scares her. And then Juliet is this beautiful vampire who works and lives in the local library, a place where Meow decided to break into to stay at because it was warm, and this place in New Zealand, apparently it rains a fuck ton. And yeah, it's just her opening up to these two and learning what it's like to have friends and a family. In most visual novels, there's usually a lot of different archetypes for characters. So you'll have one who's like the meathead, super jock type person. You'll have someone who's dainty and a Poindexter. In this one, though, instead, you're kind of the wild child. And the other two girls are very similar in the fact that they're both super kind, super mellow, just soft-spoken, down-to-earth type people, in order to basically mellow your character out. And yeah, it's just this really cute, very slow-paced set of romances that you can go through. There are 4 different endings to the game, 2 with each one of the characters. There is a comfy ending for each character, and I think the other one was called a wild ending for the character, and it's basically staying in the city with the whichever character or going out into the
wild
world.
Ending?
SML
I believe so.
After Dark.
If only it was one of those types of games.
Oh wait, it's E-rated. Never mind.
Yeah, if only. God, if only. So yeah, and no one's really shocked by any of these people because there are... The reason why this is an alternate version of this place in New Zealand is because demi-humans are a thing. So no one's particularly shocked that, oh, there's a vampire here, or, oh, you clearly have fox ears. Because, like, one of the first things you see in this place is a mermaid talking to a cyclops just in the center of town. So no one's particularly finds it odd that you exist or anything, which is nice. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk price on this one. It is a $20 game because it's a Sometimes You game, and it is available separately based on platform Xbox One, Series X and S, and Windows Store. If you buy it on Xbox One, you'll save 50% on the Series X and S and Windows Store versions. So they would be $10 each, but you have to buy the Xbox One version first. Should people buy one version, multiple versions? What are people doing with this? I think stacks are getting out of control, but that's a topic for another day. But what are your thoughts on this one?
If you really, really want the achievements, you can get it in all three. It's not going to be hard because, like most visual novels, you can set it just to instantly go through everything really quickly. You know, like Carnage does because he's a putz. And, you know,
it's funny to look at the time completion time for this on True Achievements. Some of them are like 20 minutes. Like, you didn't even...
Yeah, they don't know anything about the game, and those people piss me off. Carnage.
Oh, come on.
So he does it to all of them. I fucking hate that.
To his credit, he's not reviewing them.
I don't care. He's buying them. He should be enjoying it, not just going, I want the achievements real quick. Let's get through everything. No, play the game. Enjoy the story, you rat bastards.
The dev might be, hey, a sale's a sale. So.
Yeah. I think you should buy it everywhere.
I have to admit, I also went through and just did the achievements first on easy. And then tomorrow, yes, but tomorrow I'm going to be reading it live. So there you go. I'll read the rest of the story later.
You overwhelmingly don't need to read too much because all of the characters are voice acted. So you only have to read the narrator parts because the narrator isn't voice acted. But even side characters are voice acted. It's very nice. I really like it. And Juliet has the best voice out of all of them. So you know which one I romanced first. And all right. If you're into visual novels, I think it's totally a buy it, and you should get all of them, including the Steam version, because why not?
Support the devs.
There you go. Next game, Turbo Overkill, developed by Trigger Happy Interactive, published by Apogee Entertainment, released January 30th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5 for $19.99. Enter Paradise's Johnny Turbo, half metal, half human, all murder machine. Clean up the streets with a chainsaw, leg, 15 plus weapons, and your hover car as you battle rogue AI Sin, rival bounty hunters, and cyberpunks aplenty. Apogee's most outrageous FPS since Duke Nukem 3D. Good hunting, sir. Our friend Horror Acolyte wrote in a review of this one, this is what's going down. Welcome to Paradise, a futuristic neon-soaked cityscape full of high-rise buildings reaching to the sky, now under the control of Sin, or Synaptic Nexus, a state-of-the-art artificial intelligence created by the megacorporation TerraTech. Sin was originally developed as a means to aid humanity, but some TerraTech defectors stole the research, ultimately allowing Sin to become autonomous and corrupted, spreading its corruption all over the city. Enter Johnny Turbo, great name, the cybernetically enhanced bounty hunter, son of the lead researcher who developed Sin. His mother, having now passed, Johnny takes on the role of street cleaner for the TerraTech Corporation, helping to purge the city of Sin's influence. Turbo Overkill plays like a semi-traditional retro first-person shooter, or a boomer shooter, moving throughout each level, slaying enemies with an array of weapons, finding colored card keys to open doors, looking for the exit of each level, which takes the form of a Sin Biocore console you are looking to destroy. The game utilizes a crisp, retro-pixelated art style using vibrant colors to make the landscapes really stand out, while also maintaining a sense of bleakness. You'll make your way across the streets of Paradise through pollution-filled industrial zones and war-ravaged wastelands. As the kids would say, the soundtrack fucking slaps, enhancing the carnage with heavy electronic score, sure to get you in the mood to rip and tear. For those familiar with System Shock, Sin is AI after Shodan's own heart, creating an array and an army of fleshy machine-infused monstrosities, along with some lowly cybernetically augmented foot soldiers. Most of the foot soldiers take the form of humanoid enemies with slight cybernetic enhancements, usually sporting standard firearms like SMGs or shotguns. Some slightly more deranged enemies like human-sized minions with bladed arms and a computer monitor for a head that attack you in frenzied swarms, or toxic glowing zombie-like enemies that throw sludge and explode into a pool of acid upon their demise. Along with larger enemies like giant beasts that lunge at you, leaving behind electrical fluids or electrical fields in their wake. Either is creepy. Or large mech-based units showering you with bullets and mortar fire. You'll encounter a handful of boss enemies, but I'll let those remain a mystery. Enemy encounters will take place in an open format, allowing you to kill them at your leisure, or getting trapped in certain areas, only able to proceed once everything has been annihilated. On the rare occasion, this will take the form of a corrupted zone, which gives you access to only one of your weapons, but with unlimited ammo. To help you in your quest to slay the sin infection, you'll quickly amass a small arsenal of weapons, starting out with the dual magnum pistols and a hastily acquired shotgun, to more deadly weapons later on like the sniper rifle and plasma gun. Each gun has the potential for secondary firing options and added functionality, like the sniper rifle's ability to teleport you instantly to the location of certain enemies, exploding them from the inside. Oh god. Or the plasma gun's lock-on function to fire multiple energy streams to several targets in reasonable proximity. Johnny has great maneuverability. He can double jump and double dash, which will come in useful as the game is a bit heavy on platforming, although nothing too difficult in terms of precision. The main ability that really sets Turbo Overkill apart from other games in the genre is Johnny's chainsaw leg attachment, which can be activated at any time, allowing Johnny to swiftly slide across the map, mowing down all the lesser enemies in his path. Constant movement is generally a common strategy in these types of games. Turbo Overkill really pushes that idea between Johnny's chainsaw leg, already has you gliding across areas, and a grappling hook ability that allows you to pull yourself towards enemies. You'll be flying across each level like nightmarish Ninja Terminator, launching into the air with jump pads, delivering death from above. There are a few enemies that will remind you to keep your wits about you. Trying to chainsaw your way through mobs of toxic enemies or walking explosive barrels may not yield desired results. Johnny also gets access to a couple other abilities, each with a cooldown, a turbo time that activates temporary slow motion feature, while also giving Johnny a damage boost, and a missile launcher arm that lets Johnny lock onto several targets and fire a barrage of micro missiles. Upon dying, some of the enemies burst into piles of money. This can be collected and used at vending machines scattered throughout the level. These machines offer secondary abilities for Johnny's weapons and upgrades that can be slotted into each of the various limbs. Each limb can hold a couple of interchangeable upgrades, like allowing Johnny to gain armor and health with each kill, invulnerability while using the chainsaw slide, or lighting enemies on fire that you grapple towards. Around the map, you'll find a plethora of health and ammo pickups to keep Johnny alive and well armed, along with occasional time power-ups like increased damage or invincibility. Each level also has 2 collectible items, tech chips and cassettes. Both come in sets of 3 and will require a bit of exploration to find. If you collect a full set of 3, cassettes offer you a secret level, while tech chips grant you an optional game modifier that can be toggled on or off from the main menu. Secret levels offer new maps, usually in the form of smaller alternate playstyles like surviving waves of enemies in an arena, or time chase missions that have you running from some type of destructive force like a wall of fire. Some of the game modifiers offered by the tech chips include Big Head Mode, an enemy spawn randomizer, infinite ammo, or I Must Kill Mode, which forces you to continually lose your health, only being able to replenish it by killing enemies. To mix up the gameplay of it, there are a few campaign levels that give you access to a vehicle-based combat. Nothing too extravagant, but they were a nice change of pace. There's a bit of story told through a few cutscenes and audio logs. Most of the audio logs are found in interactive consoles throughout the levels, usually on the main path throughout the level, although some are slightly hidden. Turbo Overkill doesn't take itself too seriously. The story isn't anything groundbreaking. You'll mostly be along just for the ride to slaughter everything in sight. If you only want to slaughter things, there's also an endless mode with some customizable game parameters, allowing you to kill waves of enemies in a closed arena format. The game caters to all skill levels, giving you a good number of difficulties to choose from, which can be lowered but not raised at any point in your journey. The main difference between these difficulties is enemy projectile speed and damage output. Even on hard mode, the game was pretty reasonable. Dying would only respawn you to the most recent area, essentially losing minimal progress. I'm not sure if this is the same on higher difficulties or arcade mode. I could see the higher difficulties being particularly challenging, especially if you add some of the tech chip modifiers. In typical boomer shooter fashion, the game will make fun of you a bit for choosing a lower difficulty, with the character icon from the main menu sporting a baby pacifier. Aww. For those who like virtual photography, there's an in-game photo mode that gives you a few options to work with for capturing Johnny's mayhem. I should state I'm a little biased when it comes to this genre. Retro first-person shooters have always been some of my favorites. Turbo Overkill did not disappoint. Like the name implies, its particular brand of fast-paced brutality will leave those with a healthy bloodlust satiated, moving seamlessly around each area at high speeds, turning each mechanical, fleshy meatbag into a pile of blood and bolts as you blast them away with your sawed-off shotgun, or rip them to shreds with your chainsaw leg. The retro graphical style will make you feel right at home in the genre of roots, while also being able to enjoy the polished gameplay components of the modern era. Doesn't do much to reinvent the genre, but it does have all the staples that make the genre a joy to play, with a few fine-tuned additions. They did a fantastic job with the soundtrack, definitely one of the better ones among the boomer shooters I've played. If you fancied some of the later Quake entries or Doom Eternal, this will definitely be up your alley. Those looking for a boomer shooter with less platforming and speed-based components should be cautioned, but I would still give this a look. An easy buy-it recommendation from me. All right, that one sounds good. All right, next game to talk about is Fly Punch Boom, developed and published by Jollypunch Games, released February 7th, Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5 for $14.99. The wildest anime fight, fly super fast, smash your friends through skyscrapers, and break the planet with one punch. Up to 4 players local and online. Jacob, what is Fly Punch Boom?
Fly Punch Boom is essentially... This is the game that everyone who went to Newgrounds back in like 2006 would have thought this was the best fighting game of all time. Like it very heavily has that kind of like Newgrounds Flash game aesthetic. And yeah, like pretty much as you described it, it's anime battles, Dragon Ball Z-esque anime battles, and you control your character, and you have to pretty much just beat up the other guy. And the levels themselves are kind of varied, but not really. I mean, it's about as varied as, all the backgrounds of every fight that you saw on like Power Rangers and Dragon Ball Z and like Ronin Warriors and all that kind of stuff. Amazingly, everyone fights in like very generic, similar looking places. But what's really cool is that the environments are destructible, and so like if you're moving fast enough and you punch at the right time, you could punch a building at somebody, and like part of the building will just like break off, and you're either gonna like smack them upside the head with it, or like they'll be able to like dodge it well enough. Like, so, and that part's pretty cool, like collecting power-ups to like make you stronger and stuff like that. Fine. But, and also like it is possible to like get ring out, or if you get killed by like a certain environmental hazard, those are pretty fun, because there is like a way for you to like make your way back, kind of like a Smash Brothers-esque kind of way, although this is like a timed thing, so you have to hit the right button at the right moment, and it'll launch you back, but you can only do this so many times because that area, like that period of time where you can hit a button, it only lasts for so long, and each successive time it gets way smaller. So get good, scrub. My main issue with this game is that the controls are like, I mean, you're not supposed to button mash, but like I feel like it encourages button mashing. And when you're trying to line up and counter somebody's thing, like the screen will quickly flash like what you're supposed to hit, and it'll be a different thing each time, and so it's hard to anticipate what button you need to hit to save your ass at the right moment. And it's frustrating, but I mean, it's fun. But I honestly still have yet to actually win a match in this. Like, I can win fights, but the AI, even when set on easy, will still kick my ass every single time.
Ouch.
Yeah, and I honestly have yet to make it through the tutorial because I can't figure out how to do one of the moves. Like, I'm following the instructions that it says to do, but like I just can't get past this one part. So yeah, like I think the controls need some work, and it would be cool to see. I mean, like, I get the vibe that they're going for, but I don't know, it gets old real quick. And so, like, it's humor and, like, the action can only carry it for so far.
Yeah. Well, it clocks in at $15. If they were to update it, what would you want to see them do?
I'd like to see easy mode actually be easy. Like, I mean, you got that going for it. The other thing is, too, I mean, like, either make it so, like, when you're trying to recover, there's only one certain button that you're going to hit, or just give you more time. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, that was such a frustrating feature. Like, I mean, I appreciate it on one hand, but like, I got it wrong way more times than I ever got it right. And it was just annoying at the end of it.
Well, your verdict at 15?
I'd say it's a try it. Like, it's definitely not the worst, but like, the gimmick only felt like it lasted for so long for me.
Gotcha. All right, next up, a Rite from the Stars Remaster Edition, developed by Flying Beast Labs, published by Artax Games, released January 30th, Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, for $11.99. Join Kirm and his guiding star Hoku on this adventure full of puzzles, exploration, and growth to unveil a beautiful coming-of-age story with multiple endings. Meet unique supernatural creatures and new companions along the way. Cooperate with them and conquer the wisdom, courage, and spirit paths. Bri and Jacob, both of you played this. Who wants to start?
I can.
Go for
Jacob
it.
just went. So there's 6 different endings to find in this coming-of-age story with its own handcrafted Makoan language. Kaikala, the home of the Makoans, has a rite of passage guided by the stars. Something strange has been happening lately, and the stars were not showing up to find this generation's chosen one. Our hero is finally chosen, and he's a mute named Kirm. Wisdom, courage, and spirit are the 3 paths you must walk to become a man, and that's exactly what we're going to do. This is an adventure story with lots of things to explore, lots of collectibles to find as well. The Makoan people are primitive-looking folk, and Kaikala reminds me of like cultures in the South Pacific. The people all have leaf masks on their faces. Once you get through the story intro, you get to choose one of your 3 paths to start your journey on. Once you start, you're locked into that path. But once you finish the main path, you can run back through to find all the collectibles, which is kind of nice. There are about 30 levels between the 3 paths, each one with a challenging puzzle to solve. The path of wisdom relies on your observation and pattern skills. There's riddles to solve inside of a dark maze. There's a giant snake that wants to eat you, but if you're clever and quick enough, you can fool it. On the path of courage, you'll have to do some puzzles while controlling a second character on the other stick, a meerkat, and you'll deal with a mischievous monkey and a great beast. In the path of spirit, you have to dodge ghosts while switching between normal world and the spirit realm, and you have to walk across a cavern on little platforms that only exist in the spirit realm. And later you'll have to answer some questions that show if you've been paying attention to the game, like the color of the elders' masks and how many seagulls were in the area in the beginning of the game.
Oh, tricky stuff.
Yeah, tricky stuff. The Xbox achievement list leaves a little to be desired. It's great if you just want easy achievements. It only rewards you for collecting all the collectibles with internal achievements. So, like, the main achievements for the game, or the Xbox achievements for the game, are story-related. You just basically have to get through a couple of pieces of each path, and you have most of the achievements. But there's these internal achievements similar to the original Steam list. If you do a whole bunch of things like play a specific song by poking the right seagulls in order, or play the gong less than 15 times to solve a puzzle, or do other tasks, you'll unlock special artwork like the original models for the objects in the game or cinematics and things.
That's a bummer that they have all these achievements on Steam, but they just 11 on Xbox.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bummer for me. Again, there's nothing for collecting all the goat totems or all of the special leaves or whatever that you can. I mean, you can go back and find them, and you'll get in-game rewards. Like I said, with the remaster, you get like the extras of the artwork, the original artwork for the game, and the cinematics and stuff. But
it's just not the same without the bloop.
Yeah. So, I did not play the original game. I looked it up on Steam. The graphics and colors all look updated. You've got, like I said, the extras where you can see those things, but you have to unlock them first. I don't know, Jacob. What else? What was your experience?
I mean, because the thing is, it's described as a point-and-click adventure, and
Which it's not.
Yeah, it's not, and I found that to be a little disappointing. But I quickly figured out what I was supposed to be able to do in it. My main frustration, honestly, just came from being told oh, this isn't going to work. Because most of the time it's other character models of them shaking their head and being like, no, you can't do this. It was oh my God, guy, I know I'm trying to figure this out. Just stop talking to me. Stop talking. And
there's actually a fast forward button you can use if you run into that issue, which I learned. I think it's the right trigger or the right bumper, one of the two. And, which was particularly helpful when I got to the second path of Courage, and you have to dodge coconuts being thrown by this monkey. And it was like the stupid dog in Duck Hunt all over again, with the stupid laugh. And I wanted to shoot it so bad, but at least I could fast forward through it and come back and try again. I had to redo that scene so many times. It was annoying.
Yeah. I mean, it's not I found it to be a good game, a good, decent game. But yeah, go in there knowing it's not a point and click adventure game.
Yeah, that is an important thing to note. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would call it a puzzle adventure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed my time with it.
Cool. Well, it is a $12 game. What are your thoughts on this?
Wow.
$11.99.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
A great price. Yeah, the music was great. It was a good puzzle adventure. I would say, buy it.
Yeah, totally. That's a great price.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, we got some quickies to end the night. Next up is Journey of Johann, Grasslands, developed by Apapappa Games. I think I had enough Apapappas in there. Published by Xitilon, released February 5th on Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5 for $4.99 each. Journey of Johann is an action-adventure platformer with puzzle elements. Make your way through levels and a boss with different challenges and obstacles. Collect goblets, secrets, and beat time trials. Use your weapons as tools, such as climbing, blocking hits, and defeating enemies. The game was designed with speedrunning in mind. Jacob, what is going on in Journey of Johann Grasslands?
This game was made with self-loathing in mind. The whole entire let me put it to you this way. Yeah, sure. I'm sure it was made with speedrunning in mind, and it looks nice. I couldn't really tell you anything about the music. I don't remember it at all. But I legitimately did not have a moment of joy within this whole damn game.
Oh no.
It is a precision platformer that really you cannot make any mistakes, and it's just and getting used to how you're supposed to be able to do stuff. Because the game's just oh, well, guess what? You're going to need to fall, but as you're falling, you can do a double jump. but you have to be able to predict the right area that you're supposed to be able to fall in. And I don't want to say I hate the game, but I hated the game.
Ouch.
And it's just like, and there's fun ideas in there. Like you could throw your weapon and use that as an extra platform. But before you start jumping, you can also grab your weapon. So then you're taking it with you. I thought that was a pretty cool thing, but then it's just like, just trying to get from point A to point B. It's not even like the enemies are that difficult. Like it's easy to like throw your weapon at them, or like if you want to melee them, fine, do that too. It's just like navigating all the jumping areas. It just becomes a quick, immediate, like, screw this. Like, yeah.
Ouch.
This is a game built on bullshit.
Damn. Well, it clocks in at $5.
If you're into speedrunning,
it's on sale for a few more days for $3.99, if that helps.
If you're into speedrunning and precision platforming, then it's a try it. But if you're not, like, just don't.
All right.
Learn from my mistake.
All right, next up is Fall Asleep, developed and published by Xitilon, released February 12th, Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, PC for $4.99 each. Help Marcy wake up from her deep sleep, collect 5-star shards in this exciting platformer, explore 5 unique locations, each with its own enemies and obstacles, make your way through Enchanted Forest, Volcano Depth, Sandy Island, Snowy Peaks, and Darkest Dungeon. Get new abilities with every star fragment you find. Bri, what is going on in Fall Asleep?
Well, you're going to hear me repeat a lot of the same things. Marcy got hit on the head by a star and fell asleep, and now she's got to fight her way out of the coma by finding 5 stars on 5 different lands in her dream world. It is a platformer where you'll need to jump upside down, and move around upside down, which is a little confusing at first. You fight with an axe, avoid spikes and enemies like mushrooms and bees. You get 3 hearts that will help you get through obstacles that give you damage, like spikes. The level is long. I wrote that in all caps. And if you hit the start button to pause to take notes, it resets the level. Thankfully, there are plenty of checkpoints and infinite lives. Just don't reset the level. There are 5 levels to conquer to get their stars, each themed differently. As you mentioned, the Enchanted Forest, Volcano Depths, a tropical forest, some snowy peaks, and a castle dungeon. As you go on, you get more abilities like a double jump, an extra heart, a flame bolt. I felt like the jump was a little slidey at times, and not just in the icy area. It was an okay game. The graphics weren't anything too special. The music was okay. The challenge ramped up at a decent pace as you went along. But some sections were really frustrating, even with the checkpoints. The levels felt too long to me. And I got through the game. I had an okay time.
This game, I saw the trailer for it where you had to play upside down, and I'm like,
yeah.
I can't do this game. My brain will not work with this game. Like, when I play games that flip the screen, I legitimately have to sit upside down and look at the screen upside down so I could fucking play it. I can't do
your brain just
flip
can't.
The visuals. My brain, too old.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me a good minute to like get used to it, but that didn't bother me too much, and that was fine. So,
well, it's $4.99. It is on sale for the next 2 weeks for $3.99 because it's on multiple platforms and multiple purchases. There is a bundle available where you can get the Xbox One, the Series, and the Windows version for $9.99, and it's on sale right now for 2 weeks for $7.99. All that in mind, what do you think of Fall Asleep?
As a game by itself, I would say I could easily put it at a try it. Leaning towards a buy it. Like I said, it was okay. It wasn't spectacular. But if you're looking for some quick achievements, I would say it's a good deal to get the bundle It was a reasonable one to get through. Like I said, as long as you don't accidentally press the reset button. Oh, did not like that. The premise was really cute. I mean, overall, I had an okay time with it.
Cool.
So
sounds good. Oh, all right. Moving on. Next game to talk about is Penguin Flight, developed and published by AFIL Games. Released February 12th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, $4.99 each. Get ready to flap, dash, and soar in Penguin Flight, a delightful 2D pixel art platformer that blends charm, challenge, and creativity. Join a little penguin with big dreams as he embarks on a journey to touch the skies, navigating through 40 meticulously designed levels brimming with fun mechanics, vibrant visuals, and heartwarming adventures. Jacob, tell us about your time with Penguin Flight.
You know, I'm starting to realize, like, when platforming games come out and they refer to their levels as quote unquote meticulously designed, I think that just means a whole lot of bullshit.
I didn't think there was a lot of bullshit in this one. Although we played a similar one to this a few weeks ago, and you did really bad at it, and I beat it in like 10 minutes, and you were like, this game sucked, and I'm like, I thought it was good.
Yeah, can you imagine how this one probably went too?
I'm guessing the exact same way, that you sucked ass at it and I did great.
I sucked ass at it, and the best part is, like, originally I wasn't even going to take this game because Joe was just like, oh, I got all the achievements in 20 minutes, and I was like,
it wasn't that long. I think it was 11.
Shut up. Anyway.
And you're like, I'll take it.
Yeah, and then I did.
How many achievements did you get?
Let's have a look.
If it's less than 1,000, I'm disappointed in you.
Oh, well, then just be prepared to be disappointed. Let's see. I have 430 out of 200.
2,000, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my God.
I don't.
Bri, did you play this one?
I'm going to be playing it tomorrow, so I have not.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to be checking that out.
Can you guess what the last achievement that I unlocked in the game was?
Level 4.
No. The last achievement that I unlocked. Died
Probably
15 times died 15 times in a single level. After I popped that, like, not on purpose. Like, I was just like, yeah, screw this thing. Like, I don't have the temperament for these kind of games. I really don't.
The Penguin Flight, Windows, 15 minutes. Yeah, I did pretty good on that one.
Yeah, I didn't.
What was the other game that was like this? Because I know we played something similar to this one.
It was another friggin' AFIL Games title. Like,
and I like that one. Was it Aqua Run?
Yeah. Well, I didn't do well on that one either. But
yeah, it was Aqua Run. Yeah. I liked Aqua Run. I like this one.
Whatever.
Jacob, tell us more about Penguin Flight. What goes on in this game?
You're a penguin. You're trying to get from point A to point B and not die. You have an interesting little dash mechanic that you have to use, but it really only works to get where you want if you're going to jump and then dash. And I had a hard time predicting when I needed to do that. And yeah, it's just a whole lot of death for me. Like, it looks cute. Like, the penguin guy is cute, but yeah, like, I'm just simply not good at these kind of games.
All right, $5 on sale for 4. What do you think?
Yeah, why not?
I like these games. I don't know who the actual developer is because the Xbox page just says AFIL Games for developer. But let me see. Can I pull it up on True Achievements? It just says AFIL there too. So I guess AFIL did develop these. I know some of them, they're just publishers. Some they develop and publish. So I never know exactly which one. But this one I enjoyed. I like these games.
AFIL, get your shit together.
No, my get your shit together with them is going to be next week when we talk about their upcoming game that, instead of released with a Windows version and a console version, is now doing 3 separate stacks, which is like stacks are getting out of control.
Yeah, it's a bit unnecessary.
I'm getting entirely sick of stacks, and I think that could be a good topic for next week. But for now, we got one final game to talk about. That is Mimi the Cat Meow Together. Developed by Wisebox Studio, published by AFIL Games, released February 5th. Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, PC for $4.99. Mimi the Cat Meow Together is a charming puzzle game that blends cuteness and strategy in a relaxing and fun experience. Play solo or in local co-op to help the kitten solve puzzles and find their cozy beds. Bri and Jacob, both of you played this. Bri, start us off. What's Mimi the Cat Meow Together?
So yeah, this is a cute cat Sokoban kind of game. It's in a series.
Cute? Like, all right, look at those cats on the initial, like, menu thing. That is not cute. Those things are horrifying. Those cats.
Well, you can dress your cats up now in this game, which I thought was
I know, but look at their faces.
Skins.
Look at those faces. These cats have seen some shit.
All right, that's fair.
These cats were in the trenches of World War I.
But now there's some new mechanics to the game. There are trains you can call, and more importantly, you have two cats you can control either by switching between them with the bumper buttons, or you can do local co-op with a second controller.
I'm not gonna lie, the train thing I thought was a nice addition.
Yeah.
Like the game. Sorry, I'm gonna go off on my own little tangent about this.
Please do.
Like the game still operates on a level of bullshit of like there is a very specific way that the devs wanted you to solve this puzzle, and if you do not, like if you deviate from it, even though your path is just as valid, the game just straight up doesn't accept it. And that drove me nuts with the first game, and this one does it too. Like, and I was just like, So it ended up becoming like I'd have to like reset, even though theoretically I did everything right. I'd still have to reset it and figure out how the heck the devs wanted me to solve it, because apparently I didn't do it right. Okay. Anyway,
grumble.
But yeah, the goal is pretty simple. You want to get the cats to their comfy beds across a network of carpet tiles and boxes that you may need to stack to get where you want to go. You'll need to be fast sometimes, though, because I ran into a level that by all means I should have solved, except you need to go fast or you'd stack a box instead of having to jump on it, which was super frustrating. That was the level I got stuck on stream. And I went and watched somebody else do it in the video, and they just did that part super fast, and it didn't push the box on the train. And I was like, oh, apparently this is a timing issue, and screw you, game. But overall, I like the game.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't mind it, like especially compared to like a bunch of the other Sokoban esque titles that we have to review on this thing. Like I didn't mind it. It's just like it got frustrating that like there's only one way to solve this, and like hell or high water, you better figure it out. But anywho,
$5. What do you think?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right with $5.
Yeah, you better be. Anything else?
No.
Nothing?
No.
All right, we're done. Yay, we're finished. Yay. Episode's over. We made it through. Thanks to the three for being here and hanging out the whole time. Thanks to everyone in chat for keeping us company the whole episode. Thanks to Josh Barron for coming on, chatting with us for a good stretch of time. Music. We're going to play something off of the Fallen Aces soundtrack from Josh Barron.
Yay.
I got a handful of songs picked out. I'll pick one of those and play it, and then we'll all come back next week and do this again.
Yay.
You know what? I'm really disappointed. I had news that no, other people discovered it by accident. All right, never mind.
What?
I can save it for next week. It was some Disney Dreamlight Valley news.
Good night, everyone.